The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Hello there, and welcome back to Knights of the Nerd Republic, the show where your favorite nerds talk all things about the galaxy far, far away. I am very pleased to present our 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace episode. This will be initially being uploaded to YouTube and our podcast feed on the day of the 25th anniversary of the release of the Phantom Menace, May 19th. I'm very excited for you guys to watch this episode. Had a wonderful conversation with Gerry and Scotty. We got to kind of put a bow on a story I've been telling for years now about a very fond memory that definitely shapes how much I love this movie. And we were pressed for time, so I am recording this on May 17th. We recorded this past Monday, so that would have been what? The 13th. Well, it's like almost 1 a.m. on the 17th. Just got done on Bombadcast myself, which is a great episode. Go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. I wanted to begin the episode with a few words. Those of you who have been particularly watching this show know that I am in 99.99999% of the episodes rocking some Roosevelts, the apparel brand that I discovered late 2019 and got deeper and deeper into through 2020 and 2021. And I've referenced this before, there's a massive, absolutely colossal Facebook group full of incredible, wonderful, kind people dedicated to Roosevelt's. It's run by the lovely people who run the company. And the day after we recorded this, some news broke in that Facebook group. It came to our knowledge that Steven Gebhardt, the co-founder of Roosevelt's, had tragically passed away. It was a gut punch. You know, I have had the pleasure of meeting Steven along with Taylor, my girlfriend. I got to meet Steven at the 10th anniversary meetup they did back in 2022. It was in Atlantic City Beer Fest. It was a wonderful time. They were celebrating 10 years of Roosevelt's since they had first started selling their shirts and doing their thing and daring mighty things. And it was an absolute blast to meet Steven. You know, he was just so kind and so welcoming and just so excited to see everybody. You know, we talked on the last episode about whenever Taylor and I got to meet him on Esfandi, Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka, and how, you know, I've been to enough conventions to tell when somebody is kind of trying to be kind and kind of, I don't want to say glad handing, but, you know, putting on airs of being excited to meet somebody that they don't know. And how I could tell that was clearly not the case with Amon, that he was deeply excited to meet every single fan. Such is the case with Steven. He was just giddy to meet all of the people, to meet all of the folks who made up this family, this collective of people who are at first united by this sense of unity, of community, of people who get why, the pricey shirt means so much to somebody, and everybody has a story as to like why it does mean so much to them. um for me, I first got into Roosevelt's. I'm a bigger guy, and I was trying to kind of, move my wardrobe away from exclusively being nerdy graphic tees. And I still got some heaters. I got some nice ones still. A couple of them are Roosevelts, but I was trying to move away from that. I want to get more into button downs. I really like that look. I really like that aesthetic. Still going loud, still going colorful, but I wanted something that had a little bit more of that traditional flair, at least in shape and in style. And I could not tell you, um, under duress, how many button down shirts I had to send back to a number of websites and stores that did not fit me and made me feel incredibly gross and grossed out by myself and by my weight and by my size. Um, it it was something that was like really really upsetting to me, that it truly just felt like I was just never going to luck out. I just simply, because I wanted to wear them closed. I didn't want to wear them open. I'm very particular. I know that when you see how crazy I dress sometimes, that it may not seem as though I have a rhyme or a reason, but I do. And I wanted so badly to just go for this specific aesthetic, and I couldn't get it to work. And I was feeling really gross about myself. Closing in on Halloween time in 2019, and I see this ridiculous David S. Pumpkins shirt. The character from Saturday Night Live, played by Tom Hanks, with Mikey Day and Bobby Moynihan, is one of my favorite SNL sketches of all time. And I was like, oh, that's the perfect Halloween shirt. And I got it fully anticipating it not fitting, but I so desperately wanted to have, pardon me, this David S. Pumpkins shirt. And I got it, and it fit like a glove. And I was like, oh man, I may have found my match here. And I wore that David Pumpkins shirt so many times that October. And it was my first Roosevelt. And then 2020 rolls around, and we're kind of locked up. We're all getting stir crazy. I know I'm one of many people who started building a wardrobe to wear for a time that we never knew if it would ever come back, truly. So then I started doing more. I got a bunch of the Van Gogh shirts. I was getting, a lot of the bamboo stuff, and I was getting more and more into it. And then eventually they get the Star Wars license, and I was like, oh shit, it's over for me. um, and then it's just, and the collection grew and it 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 grew, and it sincerely helped my body image. It sincerely helped my confidence. Um, it was something that fully gave me the opportunity to express myself stylistically in a way I had never been able to before. Before, the best I could do was, here are shirts with logos and symbols and characters that resonate with me, that mean a lot to me. Um, but never in a way that I was like, yeah, like this feels like me, and then such things start coming out. And it was all thanks to Roosevelt, thanks to Steven. Um, you find yourself in a weird place when someone that you never knew deeply personally. I met Steven, obviously, like I said, I've interacted with him online several times, but I did not know him personally. I could not say that Steven and I were good friends, but he was a friend to everybody who was kind of in the main, that lifeblood of Roosevelt's. And I was talking to some friends, and I was like, I am in the same place right now I was when Carrie Fisher and when Stan Lee passed away tragically. Um, that they're gone, and I didn't have their phone number. I couldn't get a hold of them whenever I would have wanted to. But they made something that affected me, that changed me, that put something into my life that I am eternally grateful for. You know, and it's just the way my brain works. I associate memories to very specific things. The first date I ever had with my wonderful girlfriend, I frequently would just refer to it as my lucky shirt. There was one day she felt like shit, and she was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm gonna wear. And I like ran over to the closet, picked it out, and I said, you need to wear my lucky shirt. It'll make you feel better, make sure you have a good day. She said, what's your lucky shirt? It's one I wore when I met you. Um, Stuff like that, that like exists because of what he created, what he was part of created or part of creating. And you know it sucks, it hurts, and it sucks. And our I speak for everybody on Team TNAP when I say that love and condolences and thoughts and prayers are all going to the Gebhardt family, to Roosevelt's HQ, to all of the wonderful people who were a part of the vision and the sense of unity and togetherness that Steve championed. That all the love and warmth in the world goes out to them, and that as you're about to experience what is roughly a 3-hour episode about the Phantom Menace, um, that I would like to dedicate this episode that I was very excited to make, an episode that after we were done recording it, the actual episode itself, that I was deeply proud of, um, that I would like to dedicate it to him, because the conversations we have with how into this movie everybody on this panel in this episode is. It is that spirit of unabashedly loving what you love, even when everybody around you is like, oh, this movie's silly, Jar Jar's silly, all of this, all of that. It's that same driving force of $70 is a lot for a shirt with bomb pops on it and the Statue of Liberty. I respectfully disagree with that assessment, because it does sincerely mean something. They carry weight. It's something that I've loved sharing with my friends, with my family. It's the conversation I love having, where somebody's like, kind of busted my chops about the shirts and how many of them I have. And I'll get them one for their birthday or for Christmas, and they put it on for the first time and they go, oh no, I get it now. And I'm like, yep, welcome to the cult. So yeah, thank you, Stephen, for the community that you built. You set out to sell funky, incredible shirts, and you ended up kind of creating the coolest, healthiest cult on the planet. And we appreciate that. And this episode goes out to him and his family and the lovely people at Roosevelt's HQ, who love unabashedly what they're passionate about, who dare mighty things. Legends never die. May the force be with you. And without further ado, here is Knights of the Nerd Republic's celebrating 25 years of the Phantom Menace. Enjoy. So, you guys have already heard from past Jared. You know what's going on, or future Jared, who is the past for you. I love doing that bit. Time is weird, but we are here. It is myself. We got Connor. We got Spencer. We got Kaysen any minute now. And of course, we have none other. Anybody, we could not do this conversation. We could not do this episode without our lovely, dear
Trivia
friend.
Masters. Oh,
That's the word for it.
Trivia winners.
Yeah.
Down here. Only trivia winners
Ooh.
only on this row. So
Ooh.
I will let you know what I will let Gerry say that because he's the only person in the league who almost has as many KOs as I do. That said, we are joined by the lovely gentlemen, the one and only Bombadcast, Gerry and Scotty.
The Trivia Masters.
what up?
Something like that.
No, I mean it. Like, I'm happy to be here. Happy to have beat you twice now. Very lucky to have the opportunity to speak about my favorite movie on someone else's podcast because Gerry and I have been talking about it now for I think 4 or 5 weeks. So
it's been about a little over a month. And it's not
No,
stopping. No signs of stopping. No signs of stopping, folks.
None whatsoever.
I will say, you guys have such a unique voice on the Bombadcast that I truly don't think it's celebrated enough. You guys go to a uniquely weird place that I love. I know so many other people do love, and I've been watching your guys' Phantom Menace coverage. Like not just as a friend, but as a fan of what you do. And yes. I've been having a blast with all the marketing and fucking Marfa Lump and The Beginning, which is an iconic piece of documentary filmmaking that I love dearly, as most people who love this movie do. And yeah, I'm gonna be on this week's episode, which when this drops on Sunday the 19th, you guys can go back and watch if you haven't already over at the Bombadcast. We're talking about the MTV premiere of the Phantom Menace, which I am so deeply excited for.
Can't wait.
Deadpool was there. Seth Green was there.
Yep. Former Bombadcast guest, Seth Green.
Frodo, Elijah Wood was there.
Frodo's there.
The best one's Ozzy, and there's an interview segment with Ozzy, and it's mumble. It's going to be so awesome.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
So good.
Speaking of Seth Green and his time on your show, quick shout out to our friends over at Podathon. I was lucky enough to win one of their prizes, one of the first prizes of the night. Their donations are still open, so if you're looking to help bump some of those donations up for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, we were not a part of Podathon this year. However, we do implore you all to go donate nonetheless and help out with the efforts over with Make-A-Wish and Podathon. That said, and we're going to be kind of trading Spencer for Kaysen at this point, because Spencer will be peacing out a little sooner. We got a later start than we wanted to. But I am going to start with Spencer on this, because the Phantom Menace, for me, is like a foundational piece of Star Wars media. And I truly think more than any movie, because a lot of like the people on the top row here, at least, and Scotty, you kind of apply to this as well. Like, we're in that weird in between generation. You know, we're like, yeah, Scotty, you are older than us, so I less so you. But like, you know, our first Star Wars, just by virtue of timeline, would have been the Phantom Menace, but like, it came out a week before Spencer was born. Connor, I think you were only 1 or 2. I was only 1 when it came out. So like, it was not able to be our first big Star Wars, but like the sequel trilogy was. But by the time the sequel trilogy comes out, we're already like in this for life. Yeah. So Spencer, where were you at as a fan first getting to the Phantom Menace in your fandom journey? Even though it's a kind of an old hat question that I like to make fun of. Tell us about your Star Wars story. But I do. I think it is relevant to the Phantom Menace conversation. And right before you begin, Kaysen made it, everybody. He's here.
Whoa. Welcome.
There he is.
Welcome, Craig-on Jin.
Oh, there we go. My audio is not coming through my AirPods. Sorry, I'm not at my house. I'm at Gabby's house.
Now,
you're good.
To answer your question, Jared, my
my journey of Star Wars fandom has probably got the most illogical start. I would guess. I don't want to claim this title, but I would guess that my journey to Star Wars fandom is the most unusual of all of us here in the podcast. Maybe almost anybody that you know. And here's why. The first Star Wars movie I fell in love with before the Disney era was the last one I ever actually saw. Let that sink in. I had never seen a Star Wars movie until I was in kindergarten.
Okay.
And I still hadn't seen a Star Wars movie in kindergarten. But Jared, you and I were in the same kindergarten class. About what year was that?
That would have been 2005. That would have been 2005.
So I fell in love with Star Wars because of the Revenge of the Sith
I'm
merchandise.
old.
Like, it was in all the cereal boxes. It was in all the Happy Meals. Like, all of the really cool marketing promo stuff around Revenge of the Sith was coming out when I was in kindergarten. I wanted a Vader voice changer helmet for my birthday in kindergarten.
Oh yeah.
And I got one. Got one. But, and this is another little interesting piece of deep lore here. I didn't know about that Vader voice changer helmet until guess who brought it in for show and tell? Jared.
No way.
Who I didn't actually become friends with until fifth grade.
Wait,
Jared and I did not
hilarious.
actually become friends until fifth grade. But my first memory of him is in kindergarten having a voice changer Darth Vader helmet. And I remember thinking, that is insane. I want one.
And anybody who's ever seen me post about the Sithmas tree I would put up every year, that is the helmet that adorns my Sithmas tree.
Oh, that's
so good. I didn't know that.
My black Christmas tree with like the cape wrapped around it and a Darth Vader lightsaber like wrapped around one of the bendy boughs. The topper for that tree is the Darth Vader voice changer helmet in question.
So that's kind of like the really weird beginning of my Star Wars fandom. Like, I loved everything about Star Wars, and I knew almost nothing about Star Wars. Like, for a long time, I think I would have been maybe 6 whenever we started watching the original trilogy as a family. It was on like a 15-inch VHS built-in like family television, like one of the old box TVs.
CRT.
And my dad had the special edition re-releases on VHS in a box set. And I remember watching through the original trilogy. I remember just absolutely like, that is whenever it was like, oh my goodness, this is way better than I even thought it was. Like, for up until that point, it was like, this is what I think Star Wars is. And I'm like learning the names of the characters and all this stuff, but I really had no idea what it was about. But then I finally got to watch the original trilogy, and we watched it as a family. And man, in a weird way, that is like one of the more foundational times of my life. Not just because I became such a huge Star Wars fan, but the fact that we watched them as a family was just really, like, as we can all agree, you can watch a movie. Watching a movie together with people talking about it is really what's going to preserve our cultural identity and our memories. Like this, not just the art itself, but our discourse surrounding it. That's why we do this podcast. And it's why Bombad does what it does. It's like, it's what it's for, right? To prompt the discussion. So that's just a little artistic aside. But I remember watching, this is like another little nugget, little microcosm of family memory, is there was a stretch, like maybe a summer, where we watched a bunch of movies in our basement with like a white bed sheet stretched up against the wall and a projector. And we watched Phantom Menace. We watched Attack of the Clones down there as a family. We watched E.T. The first time I ever saw E.T. was down there. Like a bunch of these movies that are considered like cultural classics in America that we watched when I was a little older. This would have been maybe when I was 8 or 9 or so. We're watching these things. And my parents like they had the PG-13 rule, and like I did not see Revenge of the Sith until I turned 13.
No way.
I
That's
know.
wild.
And here's the crazy thing is I had so many books, like visual encyclopedias, the whole deal, that I knew basically everything there was to know about what went on in this movie. I was like, come on, Dad, like, come on, I already know. But like he stuck to the family rules, and the expectations were clear. So I didn't actually, so by the time I got around to actually seeing Revenge of the Sith, it was kind of like, it's kind of, I don't know what the word is, like gratuitous maybe isn't quite the right word. It was like, it was making it official, right? Like I had officially seen the movie. So for me, like trying to remember what the original question was, like why, like what did the Phantom Menace do? There's a Freudian slip there. What did the Phantom Menace, like how did that shape my, was that the question?
Yeah, just like kind of like where were you at, like in your journey?
Right,
like obviously
right.
we're all very early in, just based on all of our ages. But
where I was at, I was probably right there around 8 years old, maybe 9, and it was all brand new to me. Like I didn't grow up in the original trilogy era, and all these prequels are terrible. I didn't grow up in the prequel era. All these sequels are terrible. Like it was just, this was all brand new Star Wars to me, and the Phantom Menace, in a neat kind of a way that I didn't expect, bridged that gap between this is the old Star Wars that you're familiar with, but this is the new Star Wars, and it's still Star Wars, and it's still cool. And the reason why I say that is because at the end of the original trilogy with Return of the Jedi, you have this ending sequence that's like really musical and celebratory, and it's just like really, it's just a neat thing to experience. Like you get goosebumps here, and like that's what music does in movies, is it evokes an emotional response for us and helps us to solidify that in our memories, in our hearts, like what we're feeling in that moment. And what I grew up with at the end of Return of the Jedi, with the special do 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 do, like it just makes you feel good. Like they did it. Like it all worked out. And it's a happy moment. And the only movies where you really see something like that, I think, I'm not thinking about this very hard, are Return of the Jedi and the Phantom Menace. So for me, it's like watching this movie is like, oh, okay, like this is the same, these are the same movies, it's the same feelings that it's churning up kind of like in your heart of hearts as you're coming around this story and these characters, especially like what we did as a family, not just coming around the story and the characters, but coming around as a family to watch them. So that's kind of like where it's situated in my memory of having seen the movies, which is really cool now that I'm thinking about it. A very unusual way of getting around to Phantom Menace, but totally worth it. Yeah.
Well, that's a really beautiful thing there that I absolutely love. You know, like Star Wars for 9 out of 10 people is a family affair. Like I know at least in the case of like the 6 people on this screen, you know, Casey, I'm not quite sure how or where you got into Star Wars, and you'll be asked this question in a moment, but like it being handed down through families, which is unique as a fandom, as a franchise, as whatever, that you do forge those memories, and like that specific like point A to point B of Jedi to Menace, I love, because that specific beat is like the way those two movies are intertwined. Like the first, like in Return of the Jedi is the first time we hear that haunting theme for the Emperor, you know, and the way that like musically that they do have that cohesion, and that again,
like
quote George
direct
Lucas,
musical antithesis. Yeah.
The direct musical antithesis, and to quote George Lucas from the beginning, it's like poetry, it rhymes. You have that beat and that realization that Augie's Great Municipal Band is the Emperor's theme in the major key. That it is this inversion, and just that point alone, like they're like, we as kids don't know that. We don't realize that Augie's Great Municipal Band is the Emperor's theme, but like you flip the key around a little bit. But like there is something there that almost like a collective unconscious kind of thing that does like resonate, that like we don't know it, but we feel it. And so much about Star Wars is, especially at that young age, is I don't know what this means, but I feel what it means.
Mm-hmm.
That is just so powerful and just so unique to Star Wars. And Gerry, I would like to throw to you first because or second here, but because I feel like you were obviously have the most like fully formed memories of this time.
Yeah, so
25 years ago.
Jerry was
25
Jerry was
I was
29.
38 back then. Yeah, I was 29. I was 29. No,
Way back then.
So yeah, no, I like to say again, I was in that George Lucas sweet spot, which is sounding worse and worse by the day.
G spot, the George spot,
The G spot.
It was right there in that G spot. But anyway, so yeah, I was in there, doing my thing. No, yeah. So I real quick too. Spencer, by the way, man, I love your story because like my parents like we didn't watch rated R movies, but like my parents did not pay attention to a PG-13, like what the rating of a movie was until 1995. So it's just because they didn't know what PG-13 was back then. But anyway, my parents would take me. I'd seen the movies like at home, right? The original trilogy. I owned the Faces edition, which is back here, my original one, and then my parents took me to see the special editions, every one of them. And whenever the fever pitch for this, like I was getting like Star Wars Insiders from the local grocery store we went to and stuff like that, like flipping through them. There's like one, I think I've told this on Bombadcast, but me and like one of my like delinquent friends in 7th grade, we're looking at like the one about Sebulba, and I thought it was pronounced Sebulba. And when we saw the movie, I was like, "Oh, it's Sebulba," and he would not let go of. I like Sebulba better. I'm like, "All right, dude."
it's giving me when I was a teenager who watched way too much Jen Sarai, who was like adamant that I would pronounce the Emperor's name as Palpatine for a very long time, and it took me a long time to shake that off, and I got made fun of, and I deserved it.
Chev Palpatine.
Yeah, it's
Chev
Sebulba, followed closely by Skywalker. But yeah, no, you have like from the release of the toys, and again, like I don't know if it was exactly like this. It looks like it in the pictures of like Toys R Us, but you would like at Walmart there was like a wall of Phantom Menace toys. There was like a big thing in the middle of the aisle that had all the toys on it, and it was like a huge deal. It was in every restaurant. It felt like it was everywhere. We just looked at all that like stuff, and I mean, it was honestly, I don't think any build up to a movie will match that for a long time. I don't know if anything ever will, because that was like I was also a sweet spot for capitalism. It was like right at the last. It was the last gasp of like, hey, this ain't too bad. It was cool. It was the last time it was like, all right, this is pretty cool, and then like it was just downhill from there. So yeah, thanks Biden.
I'm telling you, pre 9/11. Pre 9/11 was an interesting
dude.
time.
Pre 9/11 was a different place.
Way
you
different.
Did not understand. Like I mean, and I did not fly on a plane till like 2006. But I can't even imagine. I think they were like smoking and doing backflips or something. I don't know what they were doing. Like you bring like a full Glock on the plane. What I hear. But
got half of one.
Yeah, in fact, everyone that was like the thing. Like you had to show you the stewardess you were packing heat and stuff like that, before you could get your peanuts. But anyway, all of that to say, I don't remember going to like the midnight premiere because that wasn't a thing when I was 12 years old. But I remember going to see it, and I went to see it a couple of times, and I remember being like so hyped when the VHS came out. Like my mom went and bought it. I think my mom bought it for me on her way home from school or from her job,
You
where
look it
school
up.
where she worked one time.
Because I believe the VHS did release like 8 months after too. It's not like we have it today.
It was a long time.
We had to wait.
I mean, I think I begged my parents to take me to, because they used to do the thing when it was 8 months between the movies and the release. They would re-release the movie in theaters like right before it came out on video, and they did that with this one, and I begged my parents to take me to it. How long?
This was 11 months. This was April 4th of 2000.
Welcome to my world, kids.
11 months before you got to see this movie again on VHS.
Come into the old folks' home, sit down, and let me tell you a story. I waited like years for certain things. Okay, like there was a thing. Whenever DVDs came out, I was like, well, now I got to start all over again. Well, how many years is it going to take for every movie to come out on DVD? And now that's anyway.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was a fun time. It was a fun time to be a kid. There were so many video games. There was so much stuff coming out about it. And I don't think there'll ever be another time like it, marketing wise and just the like hype wise.
The Force Awakens
came close. Well, I was gonna say
it came close, but it didn't.
But it wasn't
like.
Because like all the they did like the Force Friday thing, the first Force Friday. I went at 3 a.m. to a local like Meijer, the Michigan Walmart, and they had like a Chewbacca standee, and that's
God, I wish that was their official slogan.
They haven't
God,
even.
I wish that was their official slogan. By the way, Meijer, the Michigan Walmart.
We're the Michigan Walmart. But anyway, I nothing's come close yet. I don't know if anything ever will.
Kaysen, this is not something I've actually gotten the opportunity to hear from you before. Like I don't even have the faintest idea. Where were you at when you first saw this movie? Like what was going on with the young Kaysen Breon?
So young Kaysen was my grandfather had the same Faces box set that you have, Jerry. And actually I still have that somewhere, but it's missing. I think The Empire Strikes Back is gone. I don't know where it went, which I think is really funny. Anyway, so like I was watching those when I was a kid, and then also like seeing like the Spike Star Wars Sundays, like on just like reruns and all that stuff when I was younger, because I was born in '97, so I was only 2 when the movie came out. The first time I watched it, I'm pretty sure was in my grandpa's RV, because he got that one on VHS too. So like we went to the Outer Banks. We sat in the back and we watched like The Mummy on the way down. And I think we also watched The Phantom Menace. That was like one of the first times I'd actually seen it.
God, ideal.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so cool. Also, dude, Brendan Fraser in The Mummy when you're like 6 or 7 years old in the back of an RV. Beautiful. It's so good.
Peak.
Peak for sure. Aside from that, just like catching on TV again, and then one of my buddies when I was younger was really into Star Wars, and I think at the time I was more into like Batman. I was real big on Justice League and Dragon Ball when I was real little. So he got me more into like the Star Wars side of things, and like he had like the whole set on DVD, the whole original, like the original 6 movies on DVD by the time we were like 8 or 9 years old. He had like lightsabers, the whole shebang, everything. But I wasn't into it enough at the time, and I guess I didn't present that I was into it enough at the time for my parents to actually start like buying me Star Wars stuff. But I was like, I always thought it was super cool, and I was always super into it, but like I never really expressed it super hard, I guess. But yeah, that's where I was at, the back of an RV. It's good.
Back of an RV. I love that.
That George Lucas sweet spot
right there.
George Lucas sweet spot in the back of the RV.
Back of the RV.
Man, Nana told me how badly she could not wait to hear this episode the other night. So, hi, Nana. It has a tendency to happen. This has a tendency to happen when it's the Bombad boys and me.
I was the one that kicked your grandson's ass.
Scotty and I will sit on the couch with our arms around each other like my grandma used to do to us when we were bad, my cousins and me.
I think you guys would fare pretty well with Nana.
I
think I could take her.
I love that woman.
Connor, do you have any like Phantom Menace memories here?
That's not Connor Chikiti. That's Phillies legend Bryce Harper.
Yeah, he's doing well this season. Oh God. Yeah, because like Kaysen, I was 2 years old when this movie came out. So in terms of like seeing it in theaters, if I did, I have no memory of it. But I wish I had it with me, but we had it on DVD, like the whole prequels and the originals, obviously all on DVD, and like a little like box set that was sort of like had some cool designs on it. You get that, like you guys might have seen. There's a certain artist. There's like a certain box art. There's like a certain like box artist that did the covers for the DVDs that like we all would know if we saw them. And it was like that type of box art.
Know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And all I really remember from Phantom Menace was I always just rewatched Duel of the Fates, because I like as a kid growing up, when it came to movies, I skipped all the dialogue scenes and just went straight to the action. Because I was like, for me at least, I was like, this is where the magic happens, baby.
Yeah.
And so the only thing I really remember from Phantom Menace is watching Qui-Gon die and being distraught that he died.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was basically about it. Any sort of other, what's the word? Exposure to like Phantom Menace itself or any other material was through like, there's like the one video game that came out. It wasn't, it was like it was a computer game. It was kind of like a top-down computer game where you got to like control Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, and I did not finish it because I was like, this is not a good game.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much my experience with it. And I think I was growing up, I was never like the prequels suck kind of kid, but like I always heard it all the time. And I'm just kind of like, it's a little much. And so I think I sort of, oh God, I kind of remember, I think it was in like, around high school where I was just like, you know what? Let me explore these on my own terms. And I watched all 3 movies and I'm like, you know what? These aren't half bad.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I just remembered something that was that really, really shaped my Star Wars experience, specifically with like the prequels are actually pretty fucking decent.
Mm-hmm.
Lego Star Wars.
That's true.
I played that religiously.
My man.
Yeah, I'd say you're speaking Spencer's
Honestly,
language, too.
yeah. Honestly, yeah. I
So-
probably, this is no joke, I probably was playing the Lego Star Wars Complete Saga game before I saw any of the prequels.
Base.
Wow.
So I'm right there
Base.
with you, Connor.
Interesting.
And so, because I grew up with the Lego Star Wars Lego Star Wars the video game, which was just the prequels.
Yeah.
Starting hub
Yep.
was Dex's Diner.
Yep.
Every
Time Anakin jumps off the edge of the spaceport, he does the Wilhelm scream.
Yep. And then you got Jango Fett with his. I don't even want to say it, but it's just a really funny scene.
That one, yeah.
And then the Complete Saga came out, and I played that, and just it's funny that the Lego games sort of recontextualize Star Wars for me in such a like, oh, I can kind of understand it, like not understand it, but sort of like I can kind of see where it's coming from, and sort of it. I can't think of the right phrasing, but it doesn't. It makes me, I think the best way I could put it is probably that it makes me appreciate the magic of Star Wars more, especially through like the context of Lego, because I remember this. I'm going to talk about the sequels for a bit. I do remember one line that JJ had where he was like, oh yeah, we kind of looked at all 8 movies and sort of tried to connect everything. And, once you watch the previous 8 movies to get to 9, you kind of see all the threads and sort of see I think the one word he said was the inevitability of it all. And the first few times I saw Rise of Skywalker, I was like, I don't see it, because full disclosure, least favorite movie. I was just like, But then I played through Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, and I don't know what it was, played through all 9 movies, and I was like, I see what you're going for, JJ. Yeah, it's like, oh my god,
Like
I get
Frank
it.
realizing, oh my god, I get it. Yeah.
Like it's
So
just
good.
it's so interesting how Lego Star Wars has like sort of helped formulate or helped formed me as a Star Wars fan in terms of like my preferences for the movies. I would not preferences, but sort of like how I think about the movies sometimes. And also
100%.
growing up in, born in 1997, I was prime prequel age because like the prequel era, I mean, it's just too good. There's a reason that it's not the reason, but Fallen Order and Survivor being 2 of my favorite Star Wars stories. It's not hard to see why.
Yeah.
Right.
So
You come by it honestly. Scotty, same thing, man. And then I'm gonna get a nice little story time going on my end that will help usher Spencer away.
So for me personally, this movie, obviously, you'll know, it means quite a lot to me. It was the beginning of a new era of being a fan, and I was very young. I was 5 when it came out, and I have vivid memories seeing it in theaters. Saw it with my grandpa and my dad, and it was the thing I remember most of the opening crawl, the pod race scene. Like I can literally still picture those things from my first viewing. And of course, the marketing was everywhere. We talked about that on Bombadcast, these last few weeks. That like I remember going to Taco Bell and seeing the standees and seeing all the things hanging, all around the store, getting the actual Jerry, do you have the Rubik's Cube thing? Can you take that out real quick?
Hold on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I had this exact same toy.
I was just saying, here we go.
Look at this.
Here it's
Yeah.
I'm Jake Lloyd. Here we go. Whoa! Ooh, how
Isn't that cool? How did he do it?
Oh.
Yeah.
dude, that is insane.
That's so sick. What?
I think I broke.
You've
That's
never
like-
seen this before? It's awesome.
I've never seen this before. That is like prime prequel merchandise.
Well,
This
that's
is
the thing.
this is one of the window.
It
things.
came with every meal. So like if you were getting a Happy Meal, like you would get it, and they had about in total, I think it was 32 toys. So like every time you win,
that just reminded me.
you got a new toy. So like it was such an interesting time. Like if you wanted to drink a Pepsi or like a Mountain Dew, you were drinking out of Jar Jar Binks' head and a B1 Battle Droid's like body. Like I'm not kidding. This was, or if you wanted to get, I have my
Scotty,
water
I
cup
forget.
up
Do
there.
you have that? The Jar Jar soda head or whatever?
I've got all.
Okay.
Yeah, I got all. I mean, and like it was such
I got one in the kitchen.
It was almost like Disney World was everywhere, if that makes sense. Like every place you went to, there was in some way marketing the Phantom Menace. And I have vivid memories of like the cardboard cutout droidicas that they had at my Albertsons. Like I could still see it. And like to me, that was such a common thing that when the movie was over and years passed, I just assumed those things would stay standing everywhere. But yeah, this movie is, Jerry said, the last, like the best dying breath of capitalism. It really was. It was done so well.
He's not wrong at all.
Well, the only thing compared to this is whenever Avengers came out and they had all the Avengers merchandise out and they had Avengers Coke cans and Avengers standees and Avengers Doritos. Like that was the only thing I could genuinely, recall that was somewhat near the hype. I don't know. I just know that this movie spoke to everyone our age for a reason. And my buddy and Eric and I talk about like, why did it talk to this generation? But I think I can tell you why. It's so much more about being a fun movie and being a kid's movie. Of course, there's politics, sprinkled in there. But like 25 years after, I mean, I've taken my cousin's wife, his 7-year-old. I've taken my cousin who I grew up with, and my uncle. I've taken my mom and my aunt. I've taken my wife. Like every time they leave it, of course, what we were so used to hearing growing up was that this was a shitty movie. But everyone I take now is like, you know what? I love that movie. I'd watch that again. My buddy Cody wants to go watch it with his wife again. I'm like, that is such a weird thing to think that something that was so polarizing, a character like Jar Jar that triggered so many people has stood the test of time. And of course, Ahmed Best being Keller and Beck later, almost 24 years later. Like I don't know. This movie is, for some reason, everyone's like, oh, but you got to get through the Phantom Menace. And I never understood that. And I don't think it's the case anymore. I mean, Variety put out an article. If it wasn't Variety, I wouldn't believe it. But they said the most streamed Star Wars movie is the Phantom Menace. But there's two reasons for that. It's probably because of people like us. But the second thing is because it's the place where most people start and probably don't finish it. But
Yeah.
it's a good place to
That's mostly
start.
because of Jared.
It
It's
is
also because of me falling asleep to it every night.
Well, exactly.
Before you, I need to interrupt you, Scotty, because I do know Spencer has
Yeah.
to go here in a second. And there's a story that has come up countless times on this show. And I tried to find this video to play on Bombadcast one time, and I couldn't find it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a core memory I have of this movie. And I'm going to circle back to my answer to this question. But Spencer, before you go, because people have heard me tell it enough times on Bombadcast on this show, would you like to tell the lovely people at home and set the table for one of my favorite Star Wars memories as a fan?
I don't know how eloquently I'm gonna tell it, but we were what, juniors?
This is our
Was it
sophomore year. It's
sophomore?
we started campaigning for it our freshman year, and then our sophomore spring concert.
So
we actually did it.
our high school choir director at the time she had very high expectations of us, but she was not opposed to having some fun from time to time. And we somehow lobbied successfully to have Duel of the Fates be a part of our spring choral concert. And we pitched and we pitched and we pitched, Jared championing the effort like by head and shoulders above the rest of us. But like she buckled. She like she said, okay, we're doing this. So we had Duel of the Fates on our spring concert program. And she must have made a theme of it, because I think we also did the Misty Mountain song from The Hobbit that same spring
Oh,
concert.
that's sick.
So
yeah, it was a hell of a double
That's
header.
pretty
Duel of
awesome.
the
It
Fates with Misty
It was
Mountain.
a very thematic concert. But this side of things fell through. But she was like, yeah, you can totally put together like a choreographed thing for like, we'll have lightsaber stuff going on. And what we had originally envisioned ended up falling through, and it ended up just being Jared with his saber doing a little, like a real simple choreographed duel against one of our very favorite teachers. His name is Mr. Brandt. He's the astronomy teacher. He has a very, very deep narrator voice. Like, you don't want to have Mr. Brandt's astronomy for first period, because he will probably put you to sleep with his
Or
soothing voice.
immediately
But-
after lunch while your tummy is very full.
Or
Because
or
that's
immediately after
fun.
lunch in the dark planetarium with his just super soothing voice. And the really sad part about that combination is A, it is a recipe for nap time. B, he had a super soaker that he would spray you with if you fell
no.
asleep.
That's
in his lap.
awesome.
But
Okay.
he kept like an SFX grade dart,
Yeah.
like red lightsaber in school, and like he would kick that on in the planetarium when it was super dark, and it was just great. So picture Jared and Mr. Brandt in like a black cloak doing the psh, 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 and like the whole choir. And now remember, this is like a high school choir, so we were a little pitchy, I'm sure, but it was still super cool to be able to do that.
And the stars so happened to align that the week before the concert, Ray Park was at our local convention.
Oh yeah.
yeah, he was at Monroeville for
No.
Steel City Con.
And we
and
got
we
to
got
take
in
like
line.
the master copy of the music, and we brought it to Ray Park. We were like, hey, like our choir is doing Duel of the Fates for our spring show. And he was elated. He was over the moon about it. And I was not able, I wanted to reach out to said choir director, Ms. Surden, who that is not her name anymore. And I can't remember what it is now. But like I wanted to reach out to her, but I just did not know what channel to do so. But he signed it. He was like, to the Greater Latrobe High School Choir, the force is strong with you, or something to that effect. Ray Park, Darth Maul, Greater Latrobe High School Choir, 2014-2015 spring concert, Duel of the Fates. and like and she hung it, and it sat in her office in this beautiful frame. And I'd like to think she took it wherever she ended up going after she was done in Latrobe. And then years later, back when Dewback discussion was still a thing, Ray Park was at the convention we had a booth at. And
and we went back. Yeah.
We went to do the photo op, and he recognized Spencer and I. Like, we got within 3 feet of the booth. He went, "You're the guys who brought me the music." Like, within a second. And it's like what?
That's awesome.
Like a crisp 4 years later. I put on some weight. We're both in Anakin and Obi-Wan cosplay, head to toe, scar on my head, Jedi robes.
That's amazing.
Fake beard on, like, and all that. And he just said, "You're the guys who brought me the music. How are you guys doing? How'd the concert go?"
Damn.
Immediately. And I know Ray Park, there's a lot to unpack with him as a person these days. But like, that was just so surreal as a fan. And I'm going to talk about my experience with the Phantom Menace here in a minute. And Spencer, I know you have to go and you live this concert, so I'm sad you're going to miss this clip. But I've been teasing playing this on air for a long fucking time. So I am pulling this on screen. Spencer, if you need to go, you can leave, my friend. But we are throwing it all the way back.
I want to see it. I haven't seen it, so I'll stick.
Wait,
around.
Okay, hold on. Where are you at, Jared?
Oh, don't worry, it zooms.
Oh, I'm so excited.
The camera operator did well.
And then Nana kicks on the night vision, which kind of kills the red mood lighting a little bit, but
that is me and Jared, like dead center.
Whoa.
Wait, Jared.
I see Spencer.
Zip back for like 10 seconds and pause.
I'm sure it'll happen again. Hold on.
Okay, right there. Wait, right where Jared. That's Jared, and me right next to him.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, Joel's right here. Here's Joel.
No, that's
Joel.
Nick Carroll.
Joel's
Joel is over.
That's
your
Nick.
shoulder.
Joel's over your shoulder, and then I think Mike's right next to you too. Mike's somewhere in there. I saw.
Doling's in there. I believe this is Travis's head right here.
No, hold on, wait. I love
all
smile.
of TNAP is on screen right now.
Jared is smiling. Look how happy.
This is how you should open every episode, is with a choral, like you guys like
Honest
sing, and then you take your robes off and go to your seats. That's what you do.
Just wait. You're going to witness the moment my life peaked as a Star Wars fan.
This is sick.
If you listen really closely, you can clearly make Jared out of the whole choir.
Oh, don't tell them that. I didn't know that until right now, and that makes me deeply upset. So yeah, we all know the song, so we're gonna zip through this a little bit, and like, it's a big fucking choir too. Like,
I'll say that's
my
huge.
only regret was that we were not able to get the band in on this for the full orchestra.
It's like 75 people.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, wow. Small army. Oh, here we go. So Nana does not get it on camera, but at this point, Mr. Brandt comes out in a Darth Vader costume.
Oh my god!
He's got like a black suit on, big black cape, and to bring it home, a Darth Vader voice changer helmet.
Amazing! Is it yours?
Damn straight.
It was not mine. I wish I could say it was mine to fully put a button on that. But Nana's so zoomed in on me. You get to see me have my "we'll handle this" moment, and
it's
so good.
I've never been more in love with Star Wars in my life than right here.
Oh, I can't wait.
Jared just read the note that says, "Drop your book and robe."
And I just took his book. I took his book. I was the guy that held his book.
Oh my god.
And the robe.
This is so sick. Oh shit!
Peak. Peak.
Nice. That would have been me, like back behind the curtain, like with a microphone.
This is sick.
Crowd pop because Miss Cernan has a fucking lightsaber from the top rope.
Did Vader get defeated?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
His lightsaber went
I
off.
stabbed his ass in the chest.
Oh wow. Gone. Oh
Faded.
wow.
Don't start none, won't be none.
This is incredible. I love this.
Look at that.
Don't let Alden see like 16-year-old Jared holding a lightsaber with a reverse grip.
Oh, no.
There's the end.
Ending that.
Play the rest of it.
Right.
Play the rest of it.
Now.
Oh god, are you gonna make me play the rest of
Play
it?
the rest of
Play
it.
it. Play it. Why?
Play the rest of it. I clipped
Does
it
he give a speech?
specifically. Yes.
Miss Cernan
Speech.
makes me give a speech. He's like, tell him
Speech.
about the music. I'm like, oh fuck me. Yeah, let everybody remember, if I have done one thing my entire life, it's have people who will eternally want smoke with me. Is there's Mr. Brandt, and he hits the, I'm gonna come back for your ass.
Oh god, I'm so excited for this.
Hello, everybody. I am Gerry Scotty, and we just performed Duel of the Fates from Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace. And this year, when we were about to do the song, the stars had just happily aligned that Ray Park, the guy who portrayed Darth Maul in the movie, who that song was most closely associated with, would be at Steel City Comic Con. Hi, Karen. We ultimately rose the money to get the music signed by Mr. Park himself.
That was right, yeah, there's Travis.
For this, I would like to thank
There's
Ms.
Joel.
Cernan, the entire choir, and all of who have raised the money, Spencer and Joel, for coming along with me. Their integral help in putting that fight together, which was a big process, believe it or not. But thank you, and may the force be with you.
That was good. That wasn't cringe at all. That was awesome.
Good.
See?
I like the
That
little
was-
head bob with the.
that
I
was
know, that's the part that I
incredible.
hated. I had no
love
recollection
it.
of going, may the force be with you.
That
But-
lightsaber, dude. The fact that you said it was your choir director that came out with the second
Yeah,
saber.
the green
green
Oh, that was
saber.
really
Yeah.
fucking Darth Vader, man.
That was awesome.
Super
But
sick.
That was really
That-
good with Vader.
that encapsulates everything that this movie means to me.
Yeah.
Is that, like, you know, as a kid, and Spencer, I'm about to go on a rant and I don't want to keep you any longer than is necessary. I'm just warning you now. I'm about to start going and we're going to start talking about that video game. So buckle up.
In that case, thank you all. It's been a pleasure. Sorry I couldn't stick around. I got a dip. Gerry Scotty, it's been too long, my friends. I hope
It
to
has,
see you again
Spooter.
soon.
Bye bye,
Yeah.
trivia loser.
Bye, Spooter. Love you,
Bye, Spencer.
Spooner.
But like the thing is, like, this is one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
And I don't have a distinct memory of watching this movie as a kid. Like I have distinct memories of watching it again and again and again and again.
Right.
But I don't have that, like, oh, the first time I watched the Phantom Menace memory. Because for me, the Phantom Menace had always defined Star Wars. That, like, and again, as I've talked about it ad nauseum, especially on For the Republic podcast, Connor's other Star Wars show, where Andrew made the horrible decision of bringing me on to talk about a Star Wars video games of our childhood episode. that devolved into me talking about Star Wars Obi-Wan for 30 minutes, and I'll try to truncate this a little bit. My most distinct memories as a kid was, the main menu for Star Wars Obi-Wan was kind of like the chill section of Duel of the Fates. Like, it was just a lot of like the like with more of the orchestral stuff. It did not have the big shit in there. Like, it was just that very low key kind of part of the song that's still driving, that still gets your blood pumping, but it wasn't like the orchestral stuff or like the choir cinematic parts. And so, like, that was just an earworm for me. It just ran in my head, and like, I talk about it so often, and this is my chance to like fully geek out about Phantom Menace, and I'm gonna pull that up because I did like this iconography defines so much of Star Wars for me. Just being able to is it literally just Duel of the Fates, but this static image? Okay, hold on.
No, I can tell you this much though. Playing Battlefront and playing other games that came out in this era, Duel of the Fates is in every game, guaranteed, no matter what. Even if it was a game about the original trilogy, it just was. And like, I think that's part of the reason why I have such a deep association with happiness and experiencing this movie and experiencing the gaming is through Duel of the Fates. Like, I remember playing Battlefront 2 and 1, and that would be the title screen music randomly, and it was just ideal. It's exactly what I wanted to hear. It really does. Like, it is the song that lifts me. It's almost the scene makes me emotional, but the music is what makes me so emotional because it's so huge.
And it was only dethroned whenever the Revenge of the Sith soundtrack was used by every audiobook and everything.
Yes. Yes,
Battle of the Heroes, Padme's Ruminations. Yeah, it's all over the place.
I really cannot wait to talk about like just our experiences with seeing this in theaters, because
recently,
there's something that this most recent showing sort of really, what's the word? Connected with me that I know Scotty's gonna love.
Okay,
so
I love you.
Okay,
too.
I can't find the menu, but like the menu screens, like they were like modeled after the plasma refinery in
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was so evocative, and just like that aesthetic, that look, just it like that defines Star Wars for me like so much. Okay, here's a good one of like the main menu. Hold on.
So which game was this again?
This is Star Wars Obi-Wan.
Right.
Xbox exclusive. Xbox original Xbox exclusive.
I was gonna say,
like it looks like the main menu looked like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like the loading screen had this like this image of Obi-Wan, and it's this art that a little bit of sizzle for the Versus here is we're using Padawan Obi-Wan at some point this season, and I sought out this art that like I only ever saw in this game, where it's just like close-up shot of Obi-Wan where like his lightsaber is so close to him that you can barely see it in the photo, and then on one side of him is old Ben, and on the other side is like this early image from Attack of the Clones, because this game came out in like 2001 or 2002. So like it's like right before then. Like I don't know like the exact dates would be, but I'm pretty sure this is like the first time we ever saw Mace Windu with a purple lightsaber. Like, but it just it was so evocative. So like Duel of the Fates is just pounding in the background, and the lion's share of this game is taking you through the story of the Phantom Menace. So it's taking you through Naboo. It's taking you through the palace on Theed at nighttime to extract the resistance fighters, Panaka references right before the battle. Like there's a whole level where you're like laying siege to the palace under the cover of night to liberate those fighters, to then bring them back to the war effort while they're all mobilizing in the forest. Like that stuck with me so much. Just all of those looks, the interior of the plasma refinery. So like, I know I joke about it a lot, but like so much of my love from the Phantom Menace comes from playing this game constantly. It's why I love the Jedi Council of this era, because you could unlock them in the 2-player versus mode, like I was like 6 years old talking about how much I loved Coyote Mundi and Plo Koon. and not much has changed, and say AC-10, then I'm like, yeah, like they're my glup shittos. Because like as a kid, I was like, I've never heard any of these fucking people speak in my life. Like I was actually having a conversation with Eli and Alden the other night about how when you encounter Plo Koon in the game, because like the way they would do it, the way you would unlock them would be through like you would do these like little bonus missions where you'd spar with members of the Jedi Council, and they would talk to you a little bit beforehand. And this was the first time I had ever heard Plo Koon speak, and it baffled me the first time I heard, oh fuck yeah, this has the mission select menu. Here we go. But like the first time I heard him speak, it threw me off in the Clone Wars. Because I'm like, that's not what Plo Koon sounds like.
What is it? I'm so curious.
This is what the mission select looks like. So again, like this aesthetic, like this look where like it's all modular and coming open, and like it has this like scanning sound. And one of my favorite sounds in all of Star Wars that isn't a lightsaber, you'll hear it at the beginning right before Qui-Gon starts speaking, because there's this like noise that would like come from a comm link, and like you'll hear what I mean. But like I said, like this is just so foundational to me, that noise too.
You did well in fighting the Jinha, Obi-Wan. My old friend, Master Plo Koon, has agreed to train with you. He's an expert swordsman, but a hard taskmaster. You would do well to improve your saber skills quickly.
And also, side note, this game had me convinced for my entire life that Plo Koon and Qui-Gon were like this.
Aww.
And it was like, and again, it's just one of those things that like no other piece of Star Wars media really followed up on that or followed through with that. But like in my mind, few people wept harder than Plo Koon at that funeral. Like, listen to his voice.
Learn, Padawan. Your blade may someday save your life.
That's kind of cool.
And I'm sorry, I hate to say it, I like it so much more than James Arnold Taylor sounding like he's talking through a sock.
I'm not gonna lie, because I'm so. And again, I'm coming from a completely different perspective because I grew up with Clone Wars, and so that was sort of my first exposure to Plo Koon. That was much darker than I anticipated.
Same.
Yes.
It's just you're right. It's just so much of this game like defines Star Wars for me, and then by proxy, so much of the Phantom Menace defines Star Wars for me, and it just truly means the world to me. Like I joke about it, but like if this game ever gets a remaster, you're not gonna fucking hear from me for like a week.
I knew that would be the case.
Feels like
I'm gone. I'm going to disappear. Like my Twitter's going dark. Nothing's getting uploaded to this channel. No group chats are going to hear from me. No one's hearing from me. Taylor's not going to see me. Everyone at work
I
is
play
going
Obi-Wan, and I go to work, and then I play Obi-Wan.
No, fuck work. All I do is play Obi-Wan. I'll be like these MAGA weirdos. I'll start wearing diapers and shit. I don't give a fuck. Like it's Obi-Wan
born
time,
to play
man.
video games, forced to work.
True Jedi wear diapers.
True Jedi wear diapers. But like that's the thing for me, man. Is it like I truly like, and I have these. I took up a quarter of that episode on For the Republic talking about this game, and like this story I've told so many times about Ray Park and doing Duel of the Fates for the choir concert and all that stuff. They were moments that like affected me deeply because, especially the Duel of the Fates concert, where it was one of the first times I had accepted being a fan unabashedly. That I had this moment because and I'm not going to lie. And like, as much as I want to tell the story that like, we're all a bunch of nerds, so we're all into doing this. There were a lot of people who were like, this is fucking dumb.
Oh, when y'all did that?
Yeah. When we did Duel of the Fates, like, and not even from we hate the Phantom Menace place, but just like, the lyrics are repetitive. The piano part's repetitive. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to hear it with an orchestra. And they were like, but we don't have the orchestra. I'm like, I don't fucking care. Cora, Ratama, kiss my ass. Like
That's getting clipped.
Woo! That's a good clip.
But I just had this moment where it's like, I don't care if any of you guys don't care. And part of me is convinced to this day that whether or not she realized it, I think Miss Certain chose to do Misty Mountain like almost as a way to placate the people who hated Duel of the Fates.
Mm-hmm.
because it is so much more fun to sing, and it had more going on musically for a choir than Duel of the Fates, because we're all here singing a poem about a tree in Sanskrit, with the only real context being that we, for extra credit, got to watch the Phantom Menace before the concert in the planetarium, like a month or so before the concert, and so it was like, this is the context of what this means, and and that's a huge memory for me. Like, I remember being in a room full of people that was like 50-50, either loved Star Wars or did not give a rat's ass. But I like distinctly remember watching it on the big planetarium, like semi-sphere, the amount of people who like noticed Yariel Poof doing one of these maneuvers the whole time.
That's one thing that Ellie noticed too the other night when we watched it.
Like, everybody noticed it, even the people who like didn't give a damn, who were just there to hang out with their friends and get extra credit. They all saw Yariel Poof, and you could tell the exact moments where people were noticing it, because people were laughing in pockets. Like it was pockets of people going, ha ha ha, look, ha ha ha, look, and it felt so fucking communal, man. Like it was such a shot in the arm, and like this movie's just so personal to me. Like, one of I was 1 year old when this came out. My first time seeing this in the theater was not a week ago. It was when this shit came out in 3D a week before my
2012.
sister was born. A week before my sister was born. That's why, like, that little moment there where like Kira's screaming my name at the end. I'm like, hi, Kira. While I was speaking, and it occurred to me later that night where it's like, I got to see this movie I love so much for the first time in a theater the week before you were born.
Yeah.
And flash forward 3 years later, she's losing her mind hearing it be performed with me on stage fighting a Sith Lord.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it rewires your brain, man.
It does.
And her favorite movies is The Phantom Menace. Like, without ever hearing me talk about how much I love this movie and like going full nerd about it, like, she knows I love Qui-Gon. She knows I love the Duel of the Fates. But like, she never heard me like wax poetic about it for like a couple hours straight. And she's like, oh yeah, I love it. I think The Phantom Menace is my favorite. She's like, Rey's my favorite character, but The Phantom Menace I think is my favorite like movie as a whole. And I was like, fuck yeah, kid. Because it was mine. It was mine as a kid. My uncles would fuck with me. They're like, oh yeah, here comes the little kid who loves the Jar Jar movie. And I'm
exactly.
And I'm like 7, talking about the tragedy of Darth fucking Vader, and like how like epic in proportion the movie is, and explaining all the meanings of the phrase Duel of the Fates. And I'm 7, like 7-year-old Jared could talk most Star Wars YouTubers under the fucking table. And like, it's just so important to me, like this movie. And kind of moving along there, and I apologize for the amount of real estate I kind of took up in this conversation. And Scotty, I do want to start with you, because you kind of started on this topic. What has it been like revisiting this in the theater? Are there moments that stick out to you now more than ever? Like you had like the wild experience of seeing this so many times that you got to the point where you popped in AirPods and put on the audio commentary.
Yeah.
Well, I just want you to take me through the full journey of seeing this movie damn near 10 times in the theater.
So, the first time was sacred. I took off work for it. Took a whole day off work for it. I missed my 8th grader's last full day of school. Oh man, that's funny shit. But I sat there and I watched it at 1:15. Then I saw it again later at 7:45. First time was I almost couldn't even get emotional watching it, because I think it was just so overwhelming. I'm like, wow, this movie that I've grown to love these past couple of years is in front of me right now, and I'm watching it on screen. I've always wanted to see it in the theater since 2012. So I saw it with a different, frame of reference now. I watched it later that day, and that was a lot more emotional.
Did you get a chance to see the 3D?
Yeah.
Or is it like you saw 3D and you're like, I've been waiting for this since? Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, even when I saw it in 3D, I just saw it because it was coming back in a theater. That's the reason why I wanted to see it. It wasn't because I was
Yeah.
obsessed with Star Wars at that point. I was too busy chasing ass. I'm not even kidding. I was mid high school. I was playing guitar. I was trying to get some fine piece of ass back in high school. I'm being serious. Like that's all I cared about. I was not good at school. All I wanted was tail. Gerry, you're muted.
Hey, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Hey, shut up.
No, like
No,
legitimately. Okay.
No one knows.
But seeing it, so many times I've seen it. I want to see it one more time. It'd be my 9th time seeing it in about 2 weeks. So the reason why I bring all that up is because I have saw it in different states of mind. I've also seen it with different people. I've also made a point to listen to audio commentaries while I watch it. I sync the audio up on my phone. It's next level. But with those experiences, it has allowed me to digest the movie differently, see it from the perspective of when it came out in 99, but also in reference to the greater saga it made. And, we got the High Republic, and I do like those stories, and I count those stories. But the Phantom Menace really is the dawn of the Star Wars. Like it is, I mean, that's the whole point of it, right? It's how did we let this person infiltrate an entire system and then take over and play both sides. And
there's a reason why it was almost called The Beginning.
Yeah, well, but I genuinely like that it's not, because the bow at the end of the whole story is that Palpatine, regardless of what our heroes did to stop him, never could stop him. Does that make sense? Like he is still the Phantom Menace, and I love that the title couldn't be better titled. It's pulpy. It's all of it. It's everything that I like about Star Wars, all meshed into one. And of course, I say this for years. It's the most pure of the Star Wars movies. George was not told no. He financed the whole entire thing himself. This was before the fans were like, Jar Jar's bad. Like all this, and he
you can see how happy he is before this.
Yeah,
before
and so when we've been watching so much of the Bombadcast, it's all been like George is like super happy, like super happy, shipper. He's like on Rosie O'Donnell's show, like saying, "Oh, they go 500 miles per hour." He would never do that now. He would have never have done that in 2005. But no, Gerry, and I'm sorry, Jared, definitely rewatching this has been like some of my favorite memories I made in theaters recently. I've seen it twice in some days. I don't know. Makes me very happy to know that they could do this for every prequel. And I would do the same exact thing for the other two as well. Like, really, I would probably see Attack of the Clones a handful of times and see Revenge of the Sith probably as much as I've seen The Phantom Menace. It's just, The Phantom Menace is not as heavy of a movie as Revenge of the Sith is. Revenge of the Sith is a lot more emotional. But there is some moments of emotion here, especially with Shmi. Shmi is definitely taken the forefront of this movie watching experience that I was not expecting. So that I felt very much that Smee watching at home as a secondary character. Nah, she's a main player in this story.
She's kind of a scene stealer, I've never made it a secret that I will, every time I see a Star Wars movie in the theater, as Scotty J-Ro would say, that I will always cry at least once.
Yeah.
And it will consistently be at the crawl.
Yeah.
Like that was so overwhelming. Like a long time. So shouts out the OG Ken Knapsack, the guy, the God King. I finally just got around, and this is shameful. I finally just listened to Why We Love Star Wars.
Oh, it's good.
And his final little mini essay, his final entry in there, the number one reason why we love Star Wars, is that moment between the Lucasfilm logo and and he put so beautifully into words what I've been trying to say for years, is that there is a moment of wonder and just bliss.
Mm-hmm.
And a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Star Wars crawls hit different on a big screen, man.
Yeah,
they hit different on a big screen. And I remember opening night of The Force Awakens where I had this moment where I was like, have they always looked like this? And seeing Empire and Jedi in the theater for their 40th anniversaries, and seeing Phantom Menace for their 40th anniversary, I was like, is it just because it looks new? Is it just because they did it on like different software or something? It's like, no, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And that deeply affected me. And I can tell you confidently, if I got to see this movie even half as many times as Scotty did, I'd have that reaction every blessed time. Because like on the Shmi tip, I get choked up. I get a little verklempt when that moment happens. It doesn't like bring me to my knees. And Kaysen can attest to this because he had the misfortune of sitting next to me, as did Taylor. I, from Anakin getting excited that he was freed, started to get choked up.
I believe I remember a knee grab.
And you both got one. And
Jared bracing himself because he's like, I'm about to lose it.
I'm gonna come.
But from my eyes,
emotionally,
I'm about to reach emotional climax.
Ecstasy.
Yeah. I mean, ecstasy is not the word.
Climax. Yeah.
I'm at the
Anyway,
Jesus.
I keep that one in the chamber for special occasions. I got that motherfucking thing on me with that clip. But no, I felt that beat coming of that conversation and Anakin saying goodbye and Shmi knowing that like this is his best chance at a better life. And I got so over fucking whelmed watching it. And it's like, and it's not the first time this has clicked because I understand it, but like seeing it on this huge screen, like I just had this moment where like I have never been more angry at Sheev Palpatine in my life as a character. Where I'm like, I'm seeing this kid and I am seeing everything that is great about Anakin Skywalker from cradle to grave. Everything that makes him a good man in this moment as a little boy. He's a little fucking kid. We got to help these people, Mom. The odds are insurmountable, but I can do it. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to lead from the front. Someone needs to be on the front line risking their fucking life. It might as well be me. Everything that makes him an amazing human being is right there. And I've never been the type of person who loves to shift the blame for Darth Vader onto other people. I think people share that blame. I think, because Anakin is obviously groomed from a young age by the Emperor. And, the Jedi Order became decadent and cold and it lost its way. And the buck stops with whoever's in charge. And that's fucking Yoda. So like I have a lot, if there were ever to be like an intervention, I'm about to motherfuck a bunch of fictional characters for a fictional tragedy moment, and Anakin has already spoken for, I'm going for Palpatine and I'm going for Yoda first.
When you said that Anakin was groomed by the Emperor, which like I know that's exactly what it was and what it was the whole time, but as soon as you said that, my brain said BBL Chevy. If you noticed me going like 30 seconds ago,
but like in that moment, I'm just watching this pure heart who's like afraid to take this step, and it is Anakin Skywalker's fatal flaw that he can't let go. I was so devastated.
Yeah.
I was sobbing. I was full body shoulder shaking, sobbing in that moment. My heart was broken. As much as I love Darth Vader, as much as I love Darth Vader being a fucking badass, never going to beat the edgelord allegations, all of that, it stands. Taylor like started to like rub my shoulder because like and I feel so bad for her when she has to watch me watch Star Wars, because she has the human reaction of like it's okay. She has the reaction that you have when you watch another human being burst into fucking tears. That she's like, it's okay, honey. Like one of these days, she is going to tell me that it's just pretend and everybody's okay. I feel it coming. But
I promise
like as
it's
she's
not
like,
real.
as she's like rubbing my shoulder, and I don't know if you heard me say it, Kason, and this was like kind of involuntary. I like under my breath between sobs went, this kid didn't fucking deserve this. And
Yeah, I heard it.
I've never been angrier watching Star Wars. And it's one of the few times like I like to think that I'm really good at compartmentalizing Star Wars when I'm watching it. That I can appreciate the poetry. I can appreciate the tapestry. I'm going to Cash App Alden. Like I appreciate the tapestry. I can appreciate the, here links back to here, and that goes all the way back here, and then that shoots all the way forward, and the way that all of these moments and all of these character beats are interconnected. I can recognize that. I can also live in the moment of the story and understand what it's saying right now. And I'm good at like not getting too hung up in one over the other. And that was one of the times that like I got so stuck on, I know what's about to happen to this fucking child. And that crusty motherfucker deserved to die twice, and I hope it hurt both times.
Yeah.
I was just so viscerally fucking angry and upset watching that scene.
That crusty bastard.
Like it broke my heart. Like Star Wars found a way to break my heart in a way that it hasn't before. Because like when I was 13, seeing the Phantom Menace in 3D with Spencer and Joel and then another friend of ours, like I was there to see the Duel of the Fates in 3D.
Yeah, of course.
I was there for lightsabers. I was there for Qui-Gon. I was there because I had the bragging rights of being a year older than all of my friends, that I could say I have seen all the prequel trilogy movies in the theater now because all of you little bastards were too little to go see Attack of the Clones. I had that 1 year on you, which meant I could. Do I remember it? Not really, but I know I was there. I remember seeing Revenge of the Sith opening weekend. Like, I was there for all three prequels, so I got to thump my chest and say I was there for the whole prequel trilogy now. I got to see all three in some way, shape, or form. And like I was riding that high so much that like these beats didn't lock in for me. And this is the first time since 2012, like you said, Scotty, that I saw this movie in the cinema. And like, and again, Taylor was hilarious, where she was like, you're gonna cry like a bitch when Qui-Gon dies. I know it. And it's just like, and I don't. He's one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time, and I don't cry when Qui-Gon dies.
Yeah.
Because it's a foregone conclusion. Like, I know he can't win. Like, people love to do this thing where they're like, every time I watch Revenge of the Sith, I think maybe Anakin will make the right choice this time. I've never had that experience. I've never had that experience with Qui-Gon. Like, everything I love about the Duel of the Fates is everything it represents. And I'm going to shut up because we're going to talk about the Duel of the Fates and all of that here in a minute. Kason, this is your first time seeing this movie on the big screen.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I kind of similar to what you were just talking about. Well, not kind of similar, literally the exact same thing you were just talking about. Where like little Christian Lloyd, Anakin realizes that he's been freed, and he's like super excited, and then you see him like turn around and kind of think for a second, and he's like, wait a minute, you didn't say anything about my mom. And that is devastating. It's devastating every time, but like it hits different on the big screen for sure. It's kind of like the way everything in this movie was for me, seeing it the first time, like actually on the big screen. Like all the like you said, like all the little beats and everything. Now that I'm like a full-formed adult and also seeing it massive and loud, like you understand a lot of stuff more. Like the fact that they were slaves. Like I didn't necessarily I wasn't cognizant of that. And when I was 6 in the back of the RV watching this movie, I didn't know that was like, not that I didn't. I don't know. Like then obviously I had no idea because I had no idea about any social constructs or anything because I was a literal child.
Yeah.
But then like
As
as
a child in an RV, you don't have a frame of reference for chattel slavery.
Right, exactly, yeah. But yeah, like whenever like as I got older, everything you realize like you understand like what slaves are and everything. You understand like how hard it would be to have to leave like your mom at that age and everything. But then like as a fully formed adult man, my brain is done forming. It's solid in here. Like it hits way different when you're like, oh, like this is like slavery. Like this is like real stuff that has happened to real people, and it's not just in a galaxy far, far away. Like it hits an entirely different level when it's stuff that you can actually like relate to things that have actually happened and like kind of understand it better.
When you're in your 20s and you hear a 9-year-old child look you in the eye and say, Gardula the Hutt lost us betting on pods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah, and like and Gerry, you know, I gotta throw to you. Well, before that, because I want to end on the emotional, devastating note, talking about this scene with you, because you're a father. Connor, outside of Duel of the Fates, because that's going to be its own can of worms. What beats like Anakin saying goodbye to Shmi? You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be that we've been talking about that, but like what resonated with you in a different way here now, rather than like sitting on your couch pulling up Disney Plus?
Honestly, 99% of what really like hit different with me was Shmi Skywalker, because I think you said it earlier, Jared, where it was like you knew she was a secondary character, but seeing it on the big screen, it's like, you know, it's much different. It sort of hits different, really. And so just seeing Shmi on the big screen in this movie, it just like, it was just that sort of meme moment of, oh my God, I get it type thing with me, where I just got it. I just like, you know, I just like really, really, really resonated with her character in this movie and just like who she was and everything. And I texted
Connor's transmissions are being jammed. This could only mean one
mucus.
thing.
We're good. I actually texted Scotty this during the movie because I was just like, I needed to say this. I was like, you guys have to get Pernilla August on.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to happen because it's like, can you full screen me again?
Yeah.
Jared?
Yeah.
So, for Pernilla August, if you somehow see this, somehow, some way, I need you to come onto the Bombadcast. As you can tell, it's named after a phrase that is said in Phantom Menace, hosted by Scotty J-Ro and Jerry Cable. And the whole ethos of that show is so just based on just the weirdness and of Phantom Menace, and just you playing the mother of Anakin Skywalker. I just feel like, and it would just be such a great get for these guys, and I feel like you would just be such a great guest because Scotty and Jerry are both super hilarious people, but also very insightful. So you will get the best of both worlds. You will get to hear like insane, you know, funny stories about Phantom Menace or Star Wars in general, but you also get those insights. And I think you would just be a great guest for that show, considering their whole show is just the love of Star Wars in such just a weird, bombastic way, like George Lucas was when he made Phantom Menace. So
absolutely,
Pernilla. Call us
nobody.
Pernilla. We'll leave the cum jokes to a minimum.
Pernilla for
it's
Bombad.
just her performance really stuck out to me.
There's some nuance.
Like,
It's
never did.
understated.
Yeah.
It's understated in a way that like pre-Disney Star Wars isn't. Like there's
Damn.
like it really is. Like it's
Yeah.
and then that's not an indictment on the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy at all. It's just that like it's not really until 2015 that you start getting these like really understated, like cerebral performances for the most part. You know, where like stuff like Ray Stevenson as Balin Skull. You know, most of Stellan Skarsgård is Luthen Rail until he starts screaming his exact philosophy at the camera. In my favorite scene in the show, that's not a dig, but like there are these like really just understated, leaves you wanting more performances. And yeah, like that is something that soared for me, seeing it in theater, the theater.
You just
Gerry.
really see like this sort of warm compassion and almost like worry at the same time. And
See,
it's
yeah,
just
look,
played
I agree.
wonderfully.
The part that I cried at was the whole telling her, well, there was no father. I carried him, I raised him. Like I love that monologue. And Qui-Gon's like, oh shit. I love how that whole thing goes. He is so quietly going, holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck.
That's
holy fuck,
that's
fuck.
the minute he got hard.
And
Yes,
like I gotta say
yes.
it now. Like I wasn't big on ships growing up. Shmi Qui-Gon, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I like Shmigon. I can get down with
Yeah.
Shmigon.
Shmigon.
Also,
I get down
like,
with Shmigon.
There's gotta be. I'll have to search for it, but like, there's 100% has to be like
Just
what
make
if
sure
fanfic.
safe search is on. Just make sure. Safe
Obviously,
search
but
is on.
Yeah.
not that. No, not the ship. Not the ship. Like just what if
I know.
fanfic of like what if Shmi survived and she got saved.
Yeah.
OPP.
Well, Scotty, what you bring up with like that moment where Qui-Gon's like putting the pieces together and is like watching a prophecy unfold in front of him.
Uh-huh.
Like it's one of my favorite parts of the Plagueis book. You and I have talked about this numerous times. Like that moment in the Plagueis book where from Plagueis' perspective and he's watching everybody get ready to go back to Naboo.
Uh-huh.
And Plagueis is like, the fuck is up with that kid?
Yeah. When he's looking over the watching
and he
that
has
scene
one of
in
like the,
theaters too. Watching that scene in theaters was pretty special as well, if I'm going to be honest with you, because you see that shot of the
which what would have been his point of view, looking through those little like put a quarter in it binoculars that you'd use on like the Empire State Building. He's like, who the fuck is this kid? Hey, like reaches out with the Force. He's like, what the fuck? Whoa! Like,
one of mine?
There's two whole ass Jedi on there, and I can feel this kid more than anybody.
Yep.
What the shit? How old is he? He's 9. When did we do that experiment on Venom? Oh fuck.
And then
like,
then they're gone. He has a vision and they're gone.
Yeah, and he sees Vader. Yeah. And this occurred to me in the theater that silent moment from Qui-Gon where he's like, he could say, because at first Qui-Gon's like, yeah, the kid could use the Force. Like, a kid with the Force is a dime a dozen. Like, he sees things before they happen and all this shit. And he's like, yeah, what else is new? It's like, who is his father? Because Qui-Gon's like, Rail Avaros got around. There's a reason we call him Rail. He's like, he's like, maybe he's a kid of a Jedi. Maybe there's no dad.
We got a Jesus situation.
Miracle birth through the Force. Oh my god!
Like
there's almost a moment where I think Qui-Gon, like part of him is like, Dooku's not going to believe this shit when I see him. There's a part of him that's like, bro, you remember that shit everybody made fun of you for? How you were obsessed with the prophecies and shit? Get Sifo on the phone. Get Sifo on the phone right now. Get Sifo on the Anakin. Come here. Like, look at this fucking kid. Virgin birth. Like I can only imagine that
This is the
Qui-Gon
franchise right here.
That Qui-Gon is having like the light side version of Plagueis' like, oh shit moment that sends him into a whole ass vision. Yeah. Like Plagueis tweaks out on this moment so hard in the book that, like Scotty says, this man has a full ass premonition about the future and he sees Darth fucking Vader. And then by the time he comes out of it, everyone's gone and he's like, oh,
Well, he says the line, "This boy will change the course of history." Oh my god!
Also,
Yeah,
another thing that I really like picked up on was just like, dude, how incredible the production design was, especially for Oda Gunga.
oh yeah,
Holy
insane.
crap!
Oda
When they
Gunga's
first like
is so
walk
good.
down and you see it
Fresh.
all, I was just like in awe.
It's breathtaking. It's
Oh.
breathtaking. Gerry. I know that the conversation kind of turned into Anakin saying goodbye to Padme as a beat. So I'm not going to hold you to the standard of having to talk about the kid. But I know you, so I know that's where it's going.
Yeah, most likely. No, I have no life.
What affected you the most? That like watching again, like pulling it up on Disney Plus versus in the theater. What were the moments that like got you in your gut emotionally here?
So, I mean, like we always talk about like you guys already said, the opening crawl is just, it's made for theaters, like the any Star Wars movie should be viewed in a movie theater first. So it's kind of sad that they don't like just have them playing constantly. But I have to admit that I did get a little, I don't know if I may have gotten a little emotional when I was watching it with Ella, the first on Friday night. But yeah, like that moment where you see where the moment where Qui-Gon says you've been freed and everything, and you just kind of see the realization in Shmi's face of like, and I will say again, so to take the parental angle on this, it can be understood universally, but there is a certain little depth that it adds when you are raising a human and knowing full well that you're gonna have to tell that kid bye someday and just let them go out on their own, and just trust that they'll be okay. And that is the single most scary thought in the entire world. And so you just to see her being strong for him is it's hard. It's hard to watch. It's not really hard to watch, but it's just, I feel that knife in my gut a little more of, it's something that, I go to, it's something I'm going to have to do someday. And,
damn, that's brutal.
It's just, it's like, well, that's great. That's
well, in that moment, like you got to tell the little one like what they need to hear.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're fudging the truth. It's not like you're lying to them, because everything she tells them is true. Everything she tells them is true. In fact, like there's a lesson Anakin was meant to learn in that moment that he simply can't compute, and he'll never be able to, because he will forever change, or he will forever associate permanent life change with tragedy. The day Qui-Gon Jinn, the moment Qui-Gon Jinn drew his last breath was the day Anakin Skywalker's innocence died.
Yep.
And like that 1-2 punch of saying goodbye to mom and Qui-Gon is robbed from me. He'll never be able to compute the lesson she was trying so desperately to teach him.
Not at all.
But like everything she told him was true, but he needed to hear it in exactly that way for it to resonate. And yeah, like that's, and again, I'm not a parent, but like, I'm older than my sister enough to like have like, an honorary, I'm not gonna say a father figure. It's not like my dad isn't in the fucking picture, or anything like that. Like he's very much like, like it's not to take away from my parents, but like I helped raise my sister.
Yeah.
Because I'm so much older than her, that like I have had moments where those parental beats, they hit for me.
Yeah.
They really do. And like this hit me on that, like this kid didn't fucking deserve what Palpatine did to him. But yeah, like that totally tracks. Like you got to tell the kid what they need to hear in that moment.
And what a brilliant way to like for George to write this, and for just Pernilla to absolutely kill it in the delivery. But what a brilliant way to teach a kid about change too. Like talk about you can't stop the change any more than you can stop the suns from setting. which is just it's something that even I,
second salvo of sobbing from me. I was starting to level out a little bit, and I knew that line was coming, and she hit it, and just right back.
Oh man,
down.
it's like immediate derail, and you know, even myself as a 37-year-old man, I still have a problem with change. You know what I mean? Like it's still something that I need to hear. We all need to hear every now and then. It's like, you know what? Change is just, it's part of life. And you know, the older you get, the more things change. And it's kind of crazy, you know, like I feel like I've lived like 3 different lives at this point in my life, in a weird way, you know, because you get the kid, you got like the person you are for like for the 20s, and then like things just are constantly shifting and moving, always in motion. The future is, says Jared's favorite Jedi. So
fuck that guy, man. I got nothing for him. I
want you to meet Frank Oz someday, and like
I will shake Frank Oz's hand, and
face.
I will say you're an incredible performer. You changed performance art forever and for the better. I want 5 minutes in a ring alone with Yoda. Like I want a steel cage match with that little green bastard, and that's not your fault. But fuck him. Fuck him and his like Jerry Seinfeld ass haircut on the puppet. See, again, this is the issue with Kaysen being on the podcast now, is I will tell jokes just to watch his reaction to it. And Yoda having Seinfeld hair is one of them.
That's a good.
So we can't talk about the Phantom Menace without talking about one of the scenes that defines this movie. And I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. I don't give a fuck about the pod race.
I love it. From a sound design point of view, that's the
other thing.
Production design, all of that.
Oh my God.
That's incredible. I don't fucking care.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Seeing the pod race on the big screen,
Rance Tyrell's family,
unfucking real.
Wow,
that was
right?
so cool. It was just like the sound design, the race, dude. The moment when Anakin goes up onto the service ramp, and then like goes back, and then like shoots forward to temporarily take first place, I was just like, holy crap!
So good.
It's a fist pump moment, man.
I am going to give the floor to anybody who wants to talk about the pod race, because I have, aside from incredible visual effects, sound design on fucking God mode, glup shittos galore, I have nothing to say about the pod race. I know other people care way more about this chunk of the movie than I do.
All right. Where you want to start? Got Sabal by Anakin, Gascano, Ben, Bulls Roar, Rats Tyrell, Clegg Oldpack, Mohonic, Odie Mandrell, Otter Beto, Dudbolt, Ark Rose, Abby Endicott, Ellen Mutt, Mars Guo, Navior, Naviki, Timto Peglis, Fozzie Bantara, Sayunga, Pod Racer, Sith Infiltrator Pod Racer, Toy Dampner.
Oh,
I'm
you're
not
just
gonna lie.
Racer
When Doug Bolt appeared on screen, I fist pumped. I was like, "That's my king right there."
See, for me, you know, the only thing I'll say is, seen it 8 times now. I want to see it one more time before we leave the theater. But the reason I'm saying that is because I saw it with different people, and as much as we all love this movie, I was afraid other people that I was taking to go see it would not be lifted out of their seats. But I can. And even the Duel of the Fates was a great ending, but no scene like the pod race scene had people like everyone I saw it with leaned. You know, when you're in a theater and the theater lean happens, and you've got people that really aren't Star Wars fans and they know the outcome of the fucking the outcome. I've seen this thing thousands of times in my entire life. I know the outcome, but it's still the drama of the moment, the energy of it, the panic when the music kicks back in. Dun, 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 dun. Like I'm like, how did they pull it off? How do they make a literal 20-minute scene so worthwhile of every reviewing? And it's the sound design, it's the moment, but it's the intensity. Everyone I know that saw it was moved. They were like, what the, like, it blows my mind. I don't know any other movie scene that can do that. You're so invested, even though you know the outcome. It's unbelievable. There's no other scene in Star Wars. Sorry, there just isn't.
No, it's the best glup shitto scene since the cantina scene. That's like
Yes,
that's like
it is.
It's the one.
I would argue that the Jedi Council Chamber is, but that's my specific flavor of
Get out of here,
divergence.
nerd.
But-
No, you're not wrong either. You're not wrong either.
No, you're
but
not wrong.
You get to have character.
You want to hear me tell you about everything about Eth Koth? Like, you know,
But hold on.
About our Lord and Savior, was it Plo Koon?
Yaddle. I'm sorry. Yaddle doesn't even get like a medium shot. So like at least every pod racer gets a medium shot.
Yeah.
Every single one of them gets a medium. It's so cool. I don't know. That's why I like it. It does so much for the world building. The second you see the one thing I noticed this viewing that it blew my mind. I never noticed there's a sandcrawler. There's a sandcrawler. When they show the entire opening of the Boon to Eve Classic, there is a sandcrawler in the back. That would have been an Eli. That honestly is an Eli level, like a 5-pointer. Like, is there a sandcrawler in the Phantom Menace? Everyone would go, no. They would be wrong. Take notes, Connor. So that's
that would not be the question. That would not be the question.
Be like what? It'd be like, what is the maiden name of the Jawa who's piloting the Sandcrawler's mother's cousin? Be
second cousin.
What is the name of the hamster of the second cousin of the father's wife's husband's brother's sister's cousins?
Yes.
Bob.
Piloting a sandcrawler that may or may not be in the Phantom Menace. Yeah, and it's just Martini.
Quick shout out to Greg Proops.
Oh, yes.
Who I just realized recently, like over the last few years, is the basic announcer at the pod race. And I was like, I know that voice. Why don't I know that voice? And then I was like, oh, it's because I've been watching Whose Line Is It Anyway since I was 6 years old. I get it. Cool. We love that.
What? I didn't know that until right now.
I remember
Proops.
there was an article in by the way, in that in that 1999 to 2005 era, Foden Bede, one of my all-time favorite characters. At that time. I love the weird ones. I love the weird ones. But there was a Star Wars Insider article where it had those guys. They were in full makeup because I don't know if you know this. They were gonna anyway, I'm probably not dropping any knowledge or anything, but they were gonna have, I think, their heads on a CG body or something like that.
Oh God,
like a weird I don't know, like
that's wild.
Dewey's Playhouse type of shit or something, you know.
I have it right here. I'll send it to y'all.
All I have to offer to the pod race is that, and this is referenced on air, and this is actually a bit that started on Bombadcast. Shouts out to Ms. Taylor, my wonderful girlfriend, the love of my life. So when we first started living together, it finally clicked for her that I wasn't joking when I said more often than not I put on the Phantom Menace to go to sleep at night. And she would, without fail, every time, especially because I come to bed after her more often than not, she would get into bed, or I would get into bed, like hour and a half would pass, and she would wake up in the middle of the fucking Boon to Eve Classic.
That's amazing.
And it was after a string of nights where I forgot to put the sleep timer on. Though we wake up, we're both getting ready to go to work, and she has a full marriage story breakdown where, again, I post this meme a lot, but she did actually say the words, every day I wake up and it's the fucking Boon to Eve Classic. Like, she did actually say that. And then that slowly morphed into her having her new favorite, like, bullshit Star Wars character who, like, the glub shitto-ness of Sebulba is up for debate. But,
Sebulba.
He's a supporting character, Sebulba. Yes.
That she started low-key hyperfixate on Sebulba. And then I'm on a live stream where Scotty's playing the Revenge of the Sith game one night.
Mm-hmm.
And Taylor had decided. So we start watching the Clone Wars. And at one point, Taylor out of nowhere asked me, is General Grievous a Sebulba? And I'm like, and I look at her, and at this point, I'm like, do I smell burnt toast? And I'm like, what? And she's like,
Boss having a strong.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, is General Grievous a Sebulba? And I'm like, are you asking me if General Grievous is Sebulba or if he is a Doug?
Doug.
The species with which Sebulba, the pod racer, belongs to.
I didn't know that.
Confidently keeps going, is General Grievous a Sebulba? And I'm like, he's a Kaleesh, which is not a Doug. So no matter which version of this question you're asking me, which you're yet to specify, is no. And so that it just turned into her doubling down on the most extreme version of that, which was Sebulba lost the boon to Eve Classic, went fucking crazy, found out Anakin Skywalker, became a Jedi Knight, developed a deep-seated hatred of the Jedi, and then went on to become this cybernetic monstrosity designed to hunt and kill Jedi. And her justification, Grievous and Sebulba's heads are shaped the same way.
Well,
I mean,
and the eyes aren't that different.
Yeah, I mean, they both have like a little
listen.
like,
Okay, so if you took
head.
this part and just chopped that right off,
yeah,
just like, I mean, sure,
yeah,
you gotta chop that snout off though.
How bad was that crash? Is the real question. Was it Anakin level? Did he have to become cybernetic?
So then that becomes its own thing. And then whenever we're doing Ionized Bastards, all the way back at the beginning of season 2, that Mandalorian shows up and damn near kills Jerry's character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And because that happens immediately after we do a pod race, and it's a Mandalorian that attacks us, Taylor, apropos of nothing, expecting everybody to understand what she's saying, just starts calling Drock Wraith, the bounty hunter who attacked us, Sebulba Fett.
Sebulba Fett. That's hilarious.
And I asked Michael, I texted Michael, I'm like, you need to tell me this guy's fucking name so I can tell Taylor it's not Sebulba Fett. And I'm like, actually, honey, because she watches Ionized Bastards. She calls it her program. She's our biggest fan. And I go, his name is Drock Wraith. And she goes, why'd you take off Sebulba Fett's helmet? Just pretends I never said it.
Yeah.
To my face. Like, why'd you do that to Sebulba Fett? Why did you take away Sebulba Fett's right to go to heaven? It's just the full kit and caboodle. So she went into the anniversary of the Phantom Menace as somebody who had to wake up in a fucking haze to this movie more times than I can count. Not for the Duel of the Fates, not for Qui-Gon, not for Obi-Wan, not for Darth Maul, not for Padme, not for anything but Sebulba, a character she loves that she knows she has never spelled his name right. She knows how to spell Sebulba. If you ever see her tweet about this motherfucker, she knows that's not how that's spelled. She refuses to change the spelling.
That's beautiful.
And that's all I have to offer to the pod race.
Taylor would have loved the T-shirt I wore to see Phantom Menace both times because it was our Sebulba shirt, the McClunky Classic.
Canceled.
So,
the McClunky Classic. Man.
Yeah, we can't. There, you can't get. I think only 2 people own that shirt, and one of them is me. So
yes.
But as we kind of come into the end here, we would be remiss to not talk about the Duel of the Fates, because I would like to go out on this note. Every so often there will be a new fight in any medium, typically the visual ones, because it's, you see the fight, you can see how it's being constructed. You're going to invent exactly the choreography in your mind that you like to see if you're reading it in a book. New fights will happen and I'll be like, oh, that's up there. Like I said very loudly, and I stand by this, I think Balin versus Ahsoka round 1 is like in my top 5 lightsaber duels.
Awesome.
I think it's in my top 5 duels. But I'm like, Duel of the Fates is a pretty high bar to clear. And then eventually I'll be like, is that nostalgia? Is that because I heard this song so many goddamn times as a kid to the point where I would just run around the house going, da, 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 and my mom had to beg me to shut the fuck up?
Mm-hmm.
Is it that? Is it gestures towards very fond memory I have that I forced you all to watch an hour ago? Is it that? Is it all these reasons? And then I watched the Duel of the Fates on a big screen, and I went, "Yeah, that's the shit.
Yeah.
That's the shit."
Yeah.
Like
That-
I love the Rocky movies, and I know
Hello.
Invasion.
I may have to go because there's a tornado warning in my area. So
Scotty, how was the Duel of the Fates in the big screen?
Scotty, don't
I'll tell you
die.
this much. I love it, but I love it because I love the energy and I love the dot 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 dot. I love whenever, obviously the 4-part ending where you've got Battle of Naboo ground, you've got the above space battle, you've got the infiltration into the actual city of Feed, and then of course, most importantly, the fate of Anakin Skywalker at the hands of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan against Maul. The best ending of any Star Wars movie. I will say that for the rest of my life. It is only no, the only thing that comes second is probably going to be Return of the Jedi for that same exact reason. How do you tie all these things together, perfectly? And for those that don't know, Duel of the Fates is not really that much in the fight. The song itself, it's not. I didn't realize that until I watched it these most recent
right
times.
at the beginning.
It's at the beginning, and then it's at the when they showed the plasma beams. And then it kind of stops once they get to that point. Then they have the other music that comes in. But personally, and I will say this, and Dave has said it before in the gallery, but the whole entire saga hinges on this battle. And it's not because it's a cool battle. It's because it's so much has to do with Anakin's fate. And it does work for me on a very deep and personal level. Because it's at Star Wars. That's a Star Wars I had the privilege of experiencing. So I'll just say that it shaped my understanding of what Star Wars could be. And of course, when Obi-Wan and Maul start, do
that one-on-one.
Oh my God. It's peak.
That was the joke I was going to make with the Rocky thing. Like everyone's like, "Oh, well, you watch a Rocky movie, you want to go get into a fist fight." That's how I am with the Duel of the Fates. Like if I watched Duel of the Fates with Scotty right before our rematch, it would have gotten physical. And I'm not kidding. Kidding. So I'm gonna throw to the panel here, Gerry. I'll start with you. Duel of the Fates on the big screen this time around. How are you feeling? Like what are those little moments that you're like, fuck yeah? I muted Gerry by accident. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that wasn't me. I'm being suppressed, and I will not stand for that. This is not my show, but it's fine. You can choose whatever you want. Anyway, so the little moments that made me go, fuck yeah. One of them in particular, and it's always been this, is when Obi-Wan finally gets into that room after Maul has dispatched Qui-Gon. And when he finally gets in there and it's just like, boom, 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 boom. There's a part where like, I don't know, Maul's like going back or something, and it's like the hits are so succinct and like one after the other that it's like pew, 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 pew. And it's just that sound and that move lives rent free in my brain anytime. And God damn, I love that part. Just like the whole thing, but like especially the pew, pew, you know what I'm talking about? The pew, 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 pew.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
The way Obi-Wan runs in there like a fucking cowboy, dude.
Oh yeah, and like just
dude,
wrecks shit and cuts his lightsaber in half and all that shit. I will say too, real quick, but the kiddo was kind of like antsy during the Coruscant stuff, but man, when we got to the 3-way battle, she was on the edge of her seat, man, like right there, like leaning forward, like Scotty was saying, like she was like dialed in for that shit.
Well, for me, and anybody chime in at any moment because I'm about to go. You're about to get like filmmaking is cool and versus series Jared all at once. I love everything about that fight, top to bottom. There's little moments in the choreography that I love so much. Like the biggest wrestling bump in all of Star Wars is Maul blocks Obi-Wan, brings him low, catches Qui-Gon up high, and while he's got Obi-Wan locked down on the bottom blade, he brings his right foot up around his own back and donkey kicks Obi-Wan in the fucking face. And that's insulting enough. And then Obi-Wan falls 30 feet straight down onto his shoulder.
Yeah.
That is professional wrestling shit. I've not been around long enough to have any hard and fast opinions about wrestling. That was some John Moxley AEW shit. Like, homeboy got his nose broken and then shattered his fucking shoulder blade after a 30-foot drop straight down.
That's Mick Foley going off the top of the cell.
Yeah. It's so brutal. I didn't notice until recently.
Into a folding table.
There's
I don't know why they got that in there just randomly. Anyway.
Two Naboo guards just like ushering it right there for like pow.
Yeah, like
and then he rolls off. And then he rolls off the ledge and then has to heave himself up. Like, dude, like your shoulder is powder right now. You don't have shoulder bones anymore. Like, I love that beat so much. And then it's one that I didn't notice until watching the beginning. Is as they're coming through the doors into the plasma refinery, that way that Darth Maul is able to kind of like he's like able to like blade bind Qui-Gon to like knock his guard away and then knocks him back into the doorway. Like that little beat where you see Qui-Gon kind of like, ugh, like again, he just takes like a stone wall right to the rib cage. Like it is just fascinating little bits of choreography that I love. You know, and like one of the reasons why I think Duel of the Fates is so high for me, and why, again, hot take, I think the Battle of the Heroes is like C tier for me, is the way it's shot. Like most of this fight is in wide, and I love it. Like Battle of the Heroes, it's so well choreographed. Most of that fight is in close up, and you can't see shit.
Yeah.
Like the emotional resonance is there, and that's what's important. But like, if you want to talk like pound for pound choreography in the prequel trilogy, like most of that fight, the camera is right here with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and it's just blue beams ghosting in and out of the fucking frame because you can't see the choreography. Here, there are incredible, intricate passages of this fight that are just in a wide, and that's why the fight is still a 2v1. All of the Obi-Wan stuff is a medium or a wide. Like the 1v1. And Kaysen, you brought it up, one of my favorite little bits in all of Star Wars. And it's like, and again, it's so wildly out of character for Obi-Wan. Oh, not out of character. It's out of character for Obi-Wan as we see him develop as an adult and as like a knight and then a master. But that little bit, and I'm gonna stand up for a second.
Oh, I was gonna do the same thing. I'm glad you're doing it, not me.
Damn. Oh,
when it's like when Maul kicks on both ends of his blade because they know the timer's about to go off on the gate, and Obi-Wan is doing this shit.
Yeah, dude. That little boxing stutter step back and forth.
I've never seen in Star Wars a more human moment of like, without saying the words, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
I am about to fuck you up.
So
like
fucking good.
It's so good. And like, and you see the way that like Obi-Wan, like, yeah, there's anger there. And like, I don't want to attribute one of Obi-Wan's like most impressive martial feats to him giving into the dark side, because I don't think he does. I think he is so centered in his Jedi ways that like, he's livid with what he just saw happen to Qui-Gon, but he's able to rein it in and focus himself. That like Obi-Wan gets so in tune with the Force that he starts punching like 3 or 4 levels above his weight class. Because if you watch the way that Obi-Wan and Maul are fighting throughout that, or the way that Obi-Wan is fighting, like, you know, Qui-Gon is a more experienced warrior than Obi-Wan, but he gets gassed pretty quickly because Qui-Gon is not built for marathon lightsaber duels. Nobody in the Order is supposed to be doing this shit anymore. Like, you know, so Qui-Gon gets gassed a little bit, but like he has this very personalized version of Form 4 that he's very comfortable in. But like Obi-Wan's just getting batted away left and right. You know, like Qui-Gon's carrying that fight on his shoulders. Qui-Gon takes a couple bumps. Darth Maul sweeps his leg and then he knocks him into the fucking thing. You know, he knocks him into the wall. Like you can tell, like, you know, like Maul's like, you know, you're going to be easy. You're easy pickings. So like, I can either get the hard one done first, or I can, you know, take out the appetizer. Either way, I can handle this. And he's going back and forth, but he is just getting Obi-Wan out of the fucking room so many times without any effort. The donkey kick in the face, he knocks Obi-Wan away a couple times. You know, like he sees right through, and it's a really subtle thing that I never understood until I got older. And not to be the annoying guy who brings up doing martial arts as a teenager to talk about a fight scene in a movie, but I never understood it until I did Taekwondo, that like, oh, that little beat right before they hop over to the other bridge, that like that little like feign that Obi-Wan does, that he's that little like bit, because he's like doing this, so Qui-Gon, so Maul's looking over here, Maul saw right through that. He didn't even fucking flinch. He didn't even flinch.
Yeah.
You know, but Obi-Wan zeroes in. He has that I'm about to peel your muffin cap back blue little fucking bounce behind the laser gate. That shit comes open. He comes out like a bat out of hell. That is the first time in the entire fight, despite the fact that Maul is fighting at a disadvantage, that Maul is on his back fucking foot and is trying desperately to get back to pressing the attack, which he's able to do. He gets a little distance between him and Obi-Wan. He taunts him a little bit. Like Maul practically hits the gladiator, "Are you not entertained?"
Yeah.
you know, he goes full "come at me, bro." And it's these little moments in that fight, like one of the things that I love, and it's framed differently because again, it's like because you get that like wide, like straight up, like we're looking at their bellies, like almost like the camera is hovering above the reactor pit, and then we get it from like a bird's eye view up top. We see the same like part of the fight that everybody remembers twice, where it is badoop 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 do, and then you get that iconic like he blocks up high, behind the back, up front, behind the back again, and that part that like everybody remembers, it sticks in your mind so much because they do it twice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's shot so wildly differently that you don't notice that you just saw the same part of the fight twice. Because it's so dynamic, because it's so fast. Again, infamously, like Ray Park and Ewan McGregor had to be told to slow the fuck down because they were going way too quick. Because they like it just
we'll never
became
be able to
muscle
rotoscope
memory.
this.
Yeah, we'll never be able to, like, no one can tell what's happening. You two are too good. And it's just so fascinating. And that's without touching on the thematic stuff that Dave Filoni put such a beautiful button on, in the Disney gallery about, this is the fight for Anakin Skywalker's soul. I to this day as an adult have never made up my mind as to what Qui-Gon sees when he's meditating. That has been a question I have had in my mind ever since I was a kid. Is if he has made peace with the fact that he knows he can't win and he's going to go out with a fucking fight. Or if he's seen, if I take a fall right now, I know what comes next. And he starts fighting with a renewed vigor. I've never been able to figure out which interpretation of that scene I like more. I go back and forth on it all the time, but he's so serene. He's so serene. He's so fearless. It's just so good, man. It's just on another level. It's on another level. And I think that part of the allure of the Duel of the Fates, potential hot take, I think the reason why people love it so much, or why it's able to do so much, is because the use of an exotic saber in the mix.
Yeah,
I think come the Acolyte, or any other Star Wars media after this, the more like not a standard lightsaber fights we get, the higher and higher those are going to be on people's list, because like you're just doing things you haven't seen before. But also, update from Scotty, their Transformer blew out. So that is why he is no longer on this episode. We're losing them. They're dropping like flies, folks. But with that said,
just say go say goodnight to a kid, but then the kid started screaming because she doesn't want to go to bed. So.
I know the feeling, man. It's me every night before I have to go to work.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah. They get so sad, and it's like,
it's not
that serious.
Oh, dude, this is
not that serious.
I'll see you in the morning.
Give it like 10 years. This is going to be your favorite part of the day.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You don't get it yet, but eventually you'll learn.
Yeah, you'll realize that we're giving you a reward for misbehavior when we tell you to go take a nap.
Right.
But does anybody else have any other Duel of the Fates thoughts before we kind of put a bow on this?
So I think I've talked about this before on the show, but Duel of the Fates Duel of the Fates and the prequels in general kind of highlights probably my most sort of quote unquote edgelord Star Wars opinion, which is just like I want pretty much most, if not, yeah, pretty much most of the duels to be like the flashy prequel saber duels, because like again, that's what I grew up on. That's what I kind of knew. And the whole thing of like, oh, they're light, because they're light, they're weightless, and so it's like you're able to do all that flashy, spinny stuff. And so like going with that, but also playing the Revenge of the Sith game, which employs the same choreography in video game format. Duel of the Fates was kind of the formative duel for me in that sense of the choreography of Star Wars, of like, this is the type of stuff I like to see, because it's like, I still have that, but like, I feel like new stories, like Clone Wars, like Survivor, like Fallen Order, like, pretty much anything sort of in between 3 and 4. Like, I'm just going to talk about Fallen Order and Survivor, because I feel like they get that perfect middle ground of like that sort of grounded aspect of the duel with still like the sort of flashy, spinny aspects of it that I just really love, because it's always, I don't know, there's always something really cool about like saber users just sort of like having a saber and like just in the midst of the duel just doing some really cool like spin move or whatever, and just kind of showing off, really. And again, Duel of the Fates was really just formative in that sense growing up for me as a kid. I was never like huge into the forums like Jared is. I kind of studied them a bit, but like never was huge on them. But yeah, Duel of the Fates it's still definitely up there. I think it's like my second or third favorite duel in all of Star Wars. So
that's a valid take. And I know again, for me, because all roads lead back to that dog shit Obi-Wan game. Like that's the last level of the game. I remember vividly the first time I beat Darth Maul, because I play the game with my dad all the time. And I had that, because like there are certain games you play as a kid that you're like, oh, I'll be good at this when I'm older. And then you get older and you realize the game is just poorly designed. Again, this game was so brave by letting your lightsaber control be the right joystick. You controlled the angle at which you swung your lightsaber, and that is genius. Unfortunately, when you're getting mobbed by blaster fire from battle droids all the time, not being able to move your camera is kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But those best levels in the games were those melee boss fights, the Jedi Council sparring matches. There's a plot line early in the game before the Phantom Menace starts where you're fighting these weapons traffickers who like specialize in Cortosis weaponry. So like most of the guys in the Jin Ha are these beefy dudes in like fucking Cortosis armor with like Cortosis swords and Cortosis glaives and shit. So like you're like, there's like all of those fights. You're just like right here with somebody just having a parry, or there's a parry, block. Okay. And then start trying to stab somebody. I remember vividly the first time I beat Darth Maul by myself, because that fight's hard. That's a hard fight because he has 2 health bars. And when that first health bar goes down, all you've done is cut his lightsaber in half.
Damn.
All you've done
is like the freaking dude. That's like the freaking Ravis fight, man.
Well, and let me tell you,
I'm about to play soon. Well, I got to explore Kobo more, but
I don't remember how old I was when I first discovered this, but I realized that you can kind of cheese the fight when you fight Maul in the Obi-Wan game, there was more dialogue than there was in the movie.
Oh my god!
Which is any. So
I think he has like 4 lines or 3 lines or something.
Maul and Qui-Gon are fighting, and you're trapped behind the laser gate. So you just watch these NPCs duke it out until Qui-Gon's like health bar that I'm sure is like this big is depleted, and he takes that final fall and he plops to the ground. And then the voice actor, who again sounds nothing like you, McGregor's like, "Master, no!" kind of like half interested in what just happened. Watches Qui-Gon die, and then Darth Maul starts doing an anime villain monologue. Like he stands in front of the laser gate, hits that menacing pose, and he's like, I hope you're more of a challenge than your master. I'm somewhat disappointed in him. And then the laser gate comes down because they're like, well, we can't animate Obi-Wan doing the I'm about to break your shit boy little bounce. So we got to
We don't
make
have the
you
polygons.
yeah, so we got to make you want to fuck up Darth Maul. But whenever you get through that first health bar and you cut the lightsaber in half, he goes, oh, and he does this like long animation where he like winces back and he's just standing there like this as the new health bar is coming up. And I figured out as a kid, as he's standing there like this, if you just fucking wail on him the whole time, he's like, not all of the health bar will fill up.
Hell
I
yeah.
was gonna say, you're really opening yourself up, man.
And I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah. One of the premier lightsaber duelists of the age, who's just standing there. And that's what he goes.
When you do that, it
wide
sounds like
open.
Jennifer Coolidge.
These Jedi are trying to kill me. But
Oh no!
at last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge. They're just fucking wailing on him. And so the Obi-Wan fight is so metal. In fact, hold on. The way it ends is so anime. It's so Tartakovsky Clone Wars. You're not ready for this. You're not ready for this at all. Hold on. I want Xbox small. Okay. Let me.
Here we go.
Go. Okay, so we don't need to watch this whole level, but it's like the hangar fight right before Maul shows up. I fucking love this game, dude. Yeah, so like all the N1s get out.
Jeez, his horns are going
They're
for
huge,
days.
and he's
They're
fucking
wild.
cross-eyed as hell. He's like, it's like the memes with like the phone like right above your head. See, this is what Andrew was afraid of his episode about video games turning into. That was weird.
Wait. Can I talk about something really quick?
What?
That just reminded me. Dude, okay. The Trade Federation theme, that was another moment that I like started sobbing because that
is
theme
so underrated.
so freaking good. Yeah, I sobbed at the I wrote down what I sobbed at, but I think it was definitely the crawl. That pretty much probably every Shmi scene, because like again, I was just like, oh my god, I get it. And then Obi-Wan's no. It's not. I didn't cry at like Qui-Gon dying. I cried at more like the no and just sort of the everything about that. So
yeah.
Continue.
Oh god. No wonder the game's glitching out. This guy keeps using the like force slow-mo ability, and that's why he keeps going ape shit. Again, best level in the game for obvious reasons. It's a wonder I turned out the way I did.
I hope you are more challenging than your master. I'm somewhat disappointed in him.
Oh, that generator room's fucking huge.
I know. Well, because like they did where they weren't able to put the whole fight in there.
Right.
So they had to like combine all the sections. So you get like the like gantry bridges up in here. So you can get the fight onto this part to reenact that part while still having the pit in the middle.
Right.
Dude, it took me forever to realize that the room was like only even half this size. in the movie. Like in my mind, it was always this fucking big
Yeah.
for the longest time.
It's like a garbage chute or something, you know.
I love how he's just snarling the whole time. I just want you to see the stance he hits when you break his guard.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
Oh, he let off a force push right before. Okay. Said it's important to everybody that they see this.
Ooh.
He force pushes him in half. Like he gets the cut,
Yeah.
and you see him hold his belly.
Oh, I gotta
And then he comes in two after the force push. I fucking love this
Wild.
game, man.
Great.
I love this shit. But anyway, does anybody
Dude,
have?
they must have been on crack when they made that.
I love it. I fucking love
Worst
it.
polygons. That's what
No,
we're at.
like heroin. It had to be heroin. Like so much of it.
Okay.
There's the fentanyl
Okay.
crisis.
Like
I just want to say
Wow.
as we kind of come to the end here, I think this movie has such a bizarre disregard that the fandom holds in it, or used to at least. You know, people are really coming around on this movie, and it fills my heart with joy. This is what defines Star Wars for me. Without the Phantom Menace being everything that it is, this show doesn't exist. And I just can't thank this movie enough. And if anybody else has any final thoughts like that, we can segue into our little Q&A session we have, and then bring it on home.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do the questions.
Let's A some Q's.
Let's A the
Hell yeah,
Qs.
brother.
A the hell out of those
Hell
cues.
yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Donovan, co-host of the For the Republic podcast over there with Connor, asks, who is your favorite pod racer?
Dud Bolt, easy.
All right,
King.
we got a Dud Bolt, Gerry.
I think Mars Guo. And Mars Guo is the one that goes "Rawr," right whenever he
That
gets like,
guy's
taken
also
out.
cool.
Exactly that noise.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was like perfect.
Thank you.
I'm
Craig?
gonna have to go Sebulba.
Okay.
Sebulba
I'm
is
glad
pretty
somebody
fucking badass.
I'm glad somebody said Sebulba so that I can say that
Real answer.
so that I can say that Darth Vader is my favorite pod racer.
It's not the same.
Buck O'Brien asks, what do EOP farts taste like?
I don't want to know.
Couldn't tell you.
Strawberries.
Death sticks.
I think you see, here's what I think is interesting about strawberries. I think it has that that gross sweet smell. Like when someone's been drinking and they puke.
Ooh.
And it's like, oh, like it smells sweet but bad. That's what I think they smell like. Riveting fucking radio here.
Yeah.
Mitch from the
Tastes like a
comic
fart.
book cast, because when I said, hey guys, ask some questions, everybody decided to be trolls except for Donovan and Kelly. Mitch from the comic book cast asks, everyone else in Star Wars can get stabbed through the stomach by a lightsaber and walk it off except Qui-Gon. Is he dumb?
He just doesn't have that dog in him. He just didn't have that dog in him at that moment.
That's crazy.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, I guess they didn't
just
get
did it.
his. He severed his spine, and they didn't get him into the Bacta soon enough.
So that is actually the angle I'm
also
gonna take.
he lost the will to live.
So Mitchell, buddy, you turned on you caused this yourself. So let's talk about the infamous instances of somebody getting stabbed through the gut with a lightsaber and surviving. So what you need to take into context is A, the immediacy with which they got medical attention and or their connection to the dark side, which is very important as somebody who is cut the fuck in half in this movie comes back because he's just too angry to die. And I relate to that character when you say shit like this, Mitch. What you got to remember, Qui-Gon gets run through and is basically left there with his cauterized wound to decay for a crisp 5 to 10 minutes. Sabine Wren immediately gets medical attention, and doctors are able to intervene instantaneously. Kylo Ren is immediately force healed after suffering what would have been a fatal lightsaber wound. You can see that he is accepted. He's about to die. Reva, the other important example, is that she was so pissed off by what happened to her twice that she just kind of had to like thug that shit out. It happens. It's also fake and in space. Stop asking stupid questions on my Q&As, Mitchell. Our second to last one. I want to do Kelly's second to last because Ray Clausen had a very sweet comment that he left on the Q&A.
Sebulba.
Okay, actually, we have a live question being submitted as we speak. What'd you say, honey?
How did Sebulba get like that in the next movie?
Wait, what was it?
How did Sebulba get like that in the next movie? He
Well,
got his
why
snout
did he
chopped
get, like,
off.
Over 2 more movies just to terrorize the child throughout an entire animated series. You never once told him the truth.
No, he just kept that shit to himself. I don't know.
Getting beat by
They
a
never
9-year-old
met.
in the race has
He
that.
just kept coughing.
does
Casey
that to you.
said.
He never met.
She
Anakin.
says hacking up a lung because she has bronchitis.
He didn't even see Anakin until the 3rd movie, even all through that.
And then he kept lying to him. So Kelly Knox asked a wonderful question that we are all way too masculine to answer in a way that deserves it. If you were elected Queen of Naboo, what would your favorite gown look like? Jason.
That's a
Just
good
like this
question,
right here.
actually.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Just that splat.
I'm probably gonna have to go with a combination of, I don't know, like the actual like design, like the fit and everything, but color wise, I'd probably go with a combination of like red and pink with like an accent of yellow, maybe.
Okay.
So,
Okay, Connor, I underestimated you. I was fully prepared. I was fully prepared for your answer to be red and green because Phillies and Eagles go Birds. Bryce Harper, I love you.
Yes, my namesake.
All
No, but
bars.
what I talked about it before, like Padme Amidala, best wardrobe in the entire freaking show, in the entire movie, in the entire
franchise.
Well, arguably best wardrobe in the entire franchise. She just has banger upon banger of outfits, man. It's just insane. And so I would probably take inspiration from her, but I would also probably like take inspiration from like past queens just to see like their sort of dealio. So
I respect it.
I'd probably go with the something similar to like the end battle attire that Sabe I think is wearing towards the end, if I remember correctly, like that like red and black kind of thing with like the tunic almost. They'd go for something like that, you know. Because I'd be a very active queen. I'd be a very active queen.
The purple and gold like battle tunic Padme has is super underrated. So for me,
and
I think I might masculinize this a little bit because I can't quite like picture what I'd wear as a gown, but like as like some type of regal outfit, I am going for kind of the battle tunic, with like more of a lower part under the belt, a little bit flowier down, some nice trousers, some nice boots, about calf high boots, like not quite knee high, just under the knee boots. And I need a big flowing cape. I'm talking Thor I'm talking Thor where it does that impossible thing where like it goes up over the shoulder, like it's like hovering above the shoulder blade and then flows down. I need like a Thor cape. And then I am gonna stay true and go blue and orange for TNAP colors. Is the direction I'm gonna take that. And then one last question that was very sweet from $10 patron Ray Clausen. How do you all keep making such amazing content and reigniting my love for the fun and joy found in Star Wars? Seriously, the Phantom Menace episode of Teen At Movie Club is what I watch every time I watch the Phantom Menace, and it changed my outlook on the prequels. I read that while I was at work, and I actually put that episode back on and to revisit it a little bit. And shouts out Teen At Movie Club. Let me make a promise right now on air. If my schedule ever allows it, I'm reviving Teen At Movie Club. If my schedule ever allows for it, I'm bringing that show back. I have ideas for it. If I can find the time to bring it back. I barely have time to do the main two shows to begin with, but I make it happen. And as does everybody else who's a part of this. Scheduling is our worst enemy, but that truly does mean the world to me. I take seriously the role of being somebody who gets to lead these conversations, who gets to have conversations that people can be a part of, while not like directly talking to us, obviously, as it's going. But like, I found so much solace as a youngin', discovering like the Versus series YouTubers I watched, because they were talking about Star Wars, a specific aspect of Star Wars that none of my friends are that into. We all like lightsaber duels, but like nobody was enough of a fucking weirdo to be like, and the seven forms, and Shi-Cho, and Juya, and Nyman, and nobody was like that other than me. And then it spread by contagion to Spencer, and Joel to a lesser extent. But I think it's important. I think giving people that place to kind of come to and hear the kind of flavor conversation they would like to have on a day-to-day is important. And, without that, I don't think I would have exited my prequel hating edgelord phase as smoothly as I did. Without getting to hear people kind of talk about these things, like, again, shouts out to Ken Knapsack. Like, Collider Jedi Council is the reason so many of our colleagues do this, because Jedi Council is in Force Center are just head and shoulders above anything I could ever hope to put out. If my best day is Ken Knapsack's worst day, I'll retire from this happily. But yeah, I very much appreciate it, Ray. You are too sweet and too kind, and put too much praise on this gaggle of dick joke journalists. And yeah, I think that's a place to bring it home. The Phantom Menace is a movie. We went this whole conversation without even talking about Jar Jar. And I kind of wanted to like center the end of this on that. Because we were talking about the emotional beats, we're talking about all that. At the end of the day, Star Wars is for the kids. And I think that has been a through line of this conversation, is the way that this movie shaped from being little ones, shaped how we understand what Star Wars looks and feels like. And in the same way that the OGs got, grimy spaceships and bars full of weirdos, and the Force is kind of vibes based more than anything, explanations of what this universe is, what it looks like, how it acts. That's beautiful. And we came up in the age of Star Wars having political intrigue and it being about systemic decay, and it being about who gets left behind and how and why. And we also got silly stuff. We got Jar Jar. We got what is a legendary piece of filmmaking history. Whether or not you like Jar Jar in the year of our Lord 2024, that changed cinema forever. It was Jar Jar, and then it was Gollum. And because the Lord of the Rings trilogy is viewed as prestige genre fiction, we talk about Gollum more highly than we talk about Jar Jar. And he deserves his flowers. Ahmed deserves his flowers. Jake Lloyd deserves his flowers. You know, I think this movie is starting to have like, because the prequels had their renaissance as a trilogy, as a combined story of 3 chapters. It has had its moment in the sun where Hayden is welcomed in with open arms into every convention he goes to. You know, I was telling my dad, you know, meeting Hayden Christensen twice now. I had the same exact interaction with him both times. You know, I look in his eyes because, like, both times I handed him my Skywalker saber to hold for the picture. And both times, after the picture was taken and we're getting ready to leave, he turned to me. He put like the hand grip part on the bottom. He put that in my palm, and then he kind of put his hand that was now empty under my hand, kind of shook my hand like that, and looked right into my eyes and said, "Thank you, man."
Such a sweet man he is.
Exactly, and I see in his eyes a relief that it is no longer 40-year-old men ranting and raving and making documentaries about how, you know, the people versus George Lucas, and George Lucas phrase that is so fucking serious to be used in a frivolous context like this, my childhood. You know, he's gotten past that, and the kids who got it get it. And that does mean so much to me, and I'm so glad that he gets to be welcomed into these spaces like a hero. It shouldn't have to be that dramatic as of a shift. You know, we are a year removed from season 3 of The Mandalorian, and when Kelleran Beck, played by Ahmed Best, shows up to rescue Grogu, there are articles upon articles about how this is Ahmed Best's redemption. I understand what you mean.
Right.
I refuse that phrasing.
Right.
100%. He didn't.
I
do anything
reject
wrong.
it. I
He
reject
doesn't need
it.
redeemed.
This is our second chance as fans to appreciate Ahmed Best.
Yeah.
You know,
Our chance to beg forgiveness.
It's our chance to say, "Hey, Ahmed, we fucked up so hard that we owe it to you to let you be a badass Jedi who saved Baby Yoda." This is the restitution of Ahmed Best, not his redemption. Clayton Sandell with Scripps News had that beautiful article case, and we talked about it on KNR like a month or so ago about, you know, like speaking with Jake Lloyd's mother. And, you know, yeah, she's right. You know, people saying mean things about little Anakin did not give Jake Lloyd, you know, the mental health struggles he had to deal with, you know, from everything from like things that he needed to have medicated to the self-medication that led to addiction. You know, are Star Wars fans directly responsible for that? No. We still did that kid fucking dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely didn't help.
Certainly didn't help. It certainly didn't help. You know, we as fans need to accept that not everything is going to be for us. I personally don't understand how you can't watch this movie and have the time of your life.
Right.
I don't get it. That's just me. I don't understand how you can watch this movie and not just be at the edge of your seat having just a blast the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I don't need you to love Jar Jar Binks.
I do.
I'd like you to.
If you don't like Jar Jar Binks, it sounds like a skill issue. Sorry about it.
If you don't like Jar Jar Binks, then fuck you.
Based.
Absolutely
At the end of the
based.
day, I don't need you to like Jar Jar. I don't need you to like little Anakin. I don't need you to like midi-chlorians. I don't need you to like this movie. We're past the point where it's cool to hate things.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't be a dick.
And that. And
Like,
making your...
Hold on, I'm a Twitter post. This.
Yeah.
Like, and this goes with all
honor
the
is the
movies,
moment,
shit.
people.
This from here, all of this.
Like, I see this shit all the time online with the sequels now, and it's like, shut the hell up. Don't be a dick. Like,
Right.
don't ruin others people's enjoyment just because, oh, I didn't enjoy this thing. I don't give a shit if you didn't enjoy it, whatever. Don't get another P-grade. What the
Yeah,
exactly. And that's not to say that there isn't room to criticize this movie.
No,
That's not to say that there isn't room
don't be
to
a
have like a
dick.
critical conversation about the prequel trilogy, But like the Star Wars fandom has never and likely will never fully recover from hating Star Wars means I'm a Star Wars fan mentality. And what I have gotten to see over the last month is people get viscerally excited for and go to bat for a movie that just, as long as I've been alive, has had this horrible reputation. Like, I don't need you to love it. Just understand you cannot like it and not be a fucking weirdo, and understand the people that do love this movie. Like, let this be a testament to the fact that just because certain film critics who had an incredible record in the movie Trivia Schmodown, who will remain nameless, feel the need to remind everybody anytime they see a Star Wars movie they don't like being discussed highly, that you don't have to come in and remind people why you think it's bad. It's in bad faith, and these discussions are bigger than that, and they should be. And I think that the prequel kids, it's time you learn that lesson too and stop saying that shit about the prequels, or the sequels rather.
Can Harloff that shit to the dump.
Yep.
Not who I was talking about, funny enough.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying.
But yeah, I think that's all we got, guys. Gerry, where can the lovely people find you and all that you do?
So you can follow me on Twitter at the Canon Junkie right down here. You can follow Scotty also. I'll give some plugs for him. You can follow him at the Scott J-Ro if you like smoking apes and giraffe birth.
You can follow Scotty J-Ro in the huge funnel cloud over Louisiana right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
his way
listen,
to
like
Oz.
if Scotty dies in a tornado, it's like he will become legendary. It's legendary status. Like he will be a tall tale. Like fucking was Babe the Big Blue Ox. What am I talking about? Anyway,
about Paul
he'll be
Bunyan?
like he'll be the Johnny Appleseed of Star Wars podcasts. But anyway, all that aside, you can also find me on Ionized Bastards whenever it comes out with Jared as part of that crew. And then every Thursday, Bombadcast, we do a live stream and usually talk about the Phantom Menace or some shit that we are way too into. So yeah, come check us out. And thank you for having us.
Yeah, and you can catch me on this week's Bombadcast, baby.
Yes, you can. Yeah, so it'll be Jared and myself and Scotty from the Land of Oz, probably, by the time we see him again.
That's fucking great. But yeah, absolutely. Connor, where can the lovely people find you, buddy?
They can find me on Twitter at Banana, as you can see under my display name. Instagram, ConmanJFO. Here, obviously, you can also find me podcasting over at For the Republic Podcast. You can follow us over at For the Repub Pod on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, I want to say. All of social medias, I don't know. SW Editor IG, site's not up yet, so can't really plug anything there. It will be up at some point. When? I don't know. And then you can follow me over at, well, not follow me, but you can follow the Star Wars Fan Trivia League I co-write and questions for and co-host for. Star Wars in a Galaxy Epic Confrontations. All present, future, and past matches are uploaded to the Star Wars in a Galaxy YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at In a Galaxy Trivia. Two of our next matches are that guy over there getting to play Brennan Mystical Mar.
Former First Class League champion Brendan Marr.
Correct. So that match will be out at some point. And then our next match that we have on the docket is this guy, not Bryce Harper, this guy getting to play friend of the show, Alden Diaz.
All right, let's not.
Friend IRL.
Acquaintance of the show.
Title for the
Guy I let on the show because he's good at talking.
For
Person
the
known
In
by
a
the
Galaxy Epic Confrontations singles division title match.
Yeah.
Live.
And it's gonna. I hate that I'm gonna have to spank Alden on camera for the entire internet to see, but I'll just bend. It'll be over real quick. I'll bend him over and I'll just smack his bare ass until the internet
Until the internet tells you to
collectively laughs. Yeah.
So just
it's
be
gonna
on
be.
the
Oh,
lookout
that's sorry.
for
We're
those.
talking about our OnlyFans content, right?
No.
Okay.
So just be
Jerry's
on the lookout for those
OnlyFans
two
and the title match. They both.
It's gonna be a big nut bust.
That's right. You're damn right.
They're gonna be. Yeah, we're gonna stream it on YouTube and OnlyFans. So live.
I hope so.
So just be on the lookout for those, and that's all I got.
Cray.
You can find me here.
Oh,
Occasionally I'm not
I
here.
went to full screen you and I removed you. You said you can find me
That's
here.
crazy.
You find me here.
You can find me here,
Like you
not anymore.
smoke bombed, motherfucker.
You can find me here most of the time. Sometimes I'm not here, but that's fine. Jared does fine by himself. You can also find me getting dog walked in Epic Confrontations because I remember what grass feels like, unlike other people in the league. I also manage a band. Name is very hard to spell. It's in my profile. Go find it there. You can also find me at Cray Breezy on Twitter and Instagram.
Kason, I hit almost every single question you missed, so you are firing at your teammate on that one and your faction manager. So we will have to have a conversation later.
I mean, just you guys might not know what grass feels like, but at least you're good at this stuff. I'm here to be scruffy comic relief that brings like a little bit of normalcy into the game.
He's not crazy like all of us here.
Facts.
Well, I'm crazy in different ways, but yeah.
Yeah. You're crazy in your own unique way.
Yeah.
And that's what's
anyway,
cool.
Jared. Where?
Yes. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and at our website, thenerdacademypodcast.com, where if you want to get your hands on some TNAP merch, you can go ahead and click that student store link.
T-public.com.
And if you're feeling generous, you can chuck in $1 to our Patreon.
Give me $1.
Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Keandre Lloyd.
Colin Provolone. Sir.
So good.
Steal yourself, Colin. Steal yourself.
This is me stealing myself. And to Paco, or as he's going by on our Patreon, with an oldie but a goodie, Elfrona.
Maybe I'll walk out of here tomorrow and you never see me again. That's really what I want to do.
Paco, as long as that's your name, you're not getting Alex screaming. Also, thank you to friend of the show, $10 patron, and person with a very lovely comment earlier, Ray Clausen, who asked that you help donate to Equality Texas to help keep queer kids safe in the Lone Star State. As Jerry and Connor and Kason all alluded to, I have a match coming up on the Epic Confrontations on the In a Galaxy YouTube channel in Epic Confrontations up against Brendan Mystical Mar. Brendan and I had a hell of a match. It was a nail biter. It came down to the very last question. And I am very proud of that match and how it turned out. I'm excited for you guys to see it. Just some lovely sportsmanlike conduct, something we're not used to in this league because of the people who tend to dominate it. So tune in for that. Tomorrow night at time of record, we're recording a new episode of Ionized Bastards, which should be out by the time you're watching this episode. So if you'd like to check out the motley band of scoundrels that helped save the galaxy in the age after the age of the Empire and before the beginning of the Mandalorian, come tune in to Ionized Bastards to check out that story. I'm very proud of it. It is my favorite show to make. So watch Ionized Bastards on the All Remaining Systems YouTube channel. And we are going to get the Versus series caught up here before the end of the month for our $5 patrons. So thank you all so very much for watching and listening. We are honored that you have joined us. May the Force be with you always. Happy 25th anniversary to the Phantom Menace. And stay Bombad.
Stop!
Stay
Move away from the cookie jar.
I cut you off. Say it.